quit
10 seconds
in
and
the race.
counting.
Yep.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and off and running they go. It is Fishbowl versus Anthole, ladies and gentlemen. It is going to be a good one.
I'm gonna be struggling not to say fish hole and ant bowl for the entire race, so I look forward to that. Starting off with Bomb Man for Fishbowl and Cut Man for Anthole.
And once again, I forgot to adjust for the sound. Like a dope.
That's fine.
There we go.
So Cut Man is a very popular starting choice. Anyone who's learned how to do the zip in a Lekman stage is going to want to start in Cut Man stage, get the weakness for a Lekman, go there, get the Magnet Beam, and use the Magnet Beam to speed up the rest of the levels. Generally, if you're not going to go this way, what you do is you go to Gutsman stage. That gets you the power you need to clear the way through Elekman stage, the blocks in Elekman stage to get the Magnet Beam. In between those two, you go to Cutman because you have his weakness, and you want Elekman's weakness anyway. Starting at Bomb Man, honestly, I don't really see the advantages. You don't want to use the Hyper Bomb on anything except for Gutsman. So I guess if you were trying to learn how to fight Gutsman with the Buster, and it is a pretty tricky fight with the Buster, you might want to Buster through Bomb Man stage, pick up the Hyper Bomb, and use it on Gutsman.
Exactly.
So that is the reasoning behind Fishbowl's routing decision. Rather than die over and over to Gutsman.
Meanwhile, on Handhole's side, he's going through the climb through the octopus battery section. And yes, I've actually gone the limit and I pulled up the actual enemy names. So, I'll actually know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, except no one else is going to know what you're talking about.
Oh,
what
exactly.
the hell was that?
Octopus
battery?
Yeah. Meanwhile, for Fishbowl, he's going through the flying shells in the Sniper Joe section of Bomb Man's area, so now he's going to go through the descent through the octopus batteries, while Anthole just narrowly dodges Big Eye and keeps on running. So both players here bat about, anywhere between a fourth to a half their health going into their respective fights. Let's see how Fishbowl does as he enters first into Bomb Man's room. Again, he has about a fourth of his life, so he doesn't want to take too much contact damage. He's doing a good job evading so far. He's getting those buster shots in, making great use of the select glitch to help himself. Unfortunately, has Bomb Man cornering him. Meanwhile, Anthole's having a good time with Cutman. Has him in a good position. He's getting him down. Fishbowl here, I don't know if he's going to get caught coming up. He has to be very careful.
Land these jumps over the bombs. I cannot believe he pulled that off.
That is such a clutch victory right there, ladies and gentlemen. Holy Moses.
We saw him using the select glitch to get multiple hits off some of his buster shots, but it also killed his horizontal momentum, and he didn't quite jump away from one of the bomb explosions, got him down to that low health situation, and it looked really grim from then on, but he pulled it together. Nice job.
Indeed. So respectively now, Anthole is going to be starting into Lekman stage, while Fishbowl has the fun part of doing Gutsman stage. Now, the thing to note about Gutsman stage is this is normally quicker if you have the Magnet Beam. The thing is, he doesn't have it, and I don't want to start in too soon, but Fishbowl did struggle here last race he had, trying to get through this falling platform section. So he has to be careful to time his jumps just perfectly over these dropout points in order to continue, and he does it perfectly so. Good job, Fishbowl. He's definitely been improving since his last match. I'm astounded by this. Maybe he'll come up with a better time of hopefully a sub 230 if he can do good today. Meanwhile, Anthole is now going through the Yoku block section.
Too.
Sorry,
definitely. Yeah, no, it's very important that you pointed that out. Anthole has been putting up about 230s in this tournament, so if he was to get down to that mark, then we would have ourselves a race.
Oh yes, definitely. So Anthole here, as you can see, was on the Yoku block section. Unfortunately, he did fall, and you can see the punishment paying off very big as he is stuck going back through the same two ladder rooms with the Watchers on his way. They're the things that are shooting electricity at him. Meanwhile, Fishbowl dodging Big Eye pretty nicely. So Anthole now has a second chance to get up here. He's attempting the quick jump, which is what you can do. You can go on the left side, and unfortunately, he does not make the timing, so he falls back down to the Yoku blocks. what he's trying to do is he's trying to get to this precise ledge on the left side here. He's not going to go for it again, but if you can get it just so and make the jump just right, you literally zip up through it and get on over. Meanwhile, Fishbowl, starting off Gutsman's fight, unfortunately gets one stomp in and starts throwing rocks. Meanwhile, he got one Hyper Bomb off, only got one hit out of it. He's doing his best to dodge. He's doing a lot better since his last match with Gutsman, because he unfortunately took a lot of damage last time. Thankfully, Gutsman does him the favor and lands directly on the Hyper Bomb. Fishbowl has definitely improved since his last match, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be a good race.
He didn't take any damage at all that stage, I think. Except for, I think he probably took a hammer to the face or two. And
he took a couple hammers to the face, but he pretty much had a flawless Gutsman fight. That's actually amazing as he's going into Cutman. As you can see, Anthole here, he's trying to set up the zip to get to the magnet beam. He's having a little bit of difficulty. Hopefully he needs to get it soon, and he's working on it. And he's inching his way in the hole.
Just needs to get that turnaround.
Got it.
It's pretty tricky. You need to be holding right and then get left to be your next input on the very next frame in order to get out of that wall. So you're doing this kind of right, left, and then if you hold left too long, you actually step outside the wall and into Mega Jail, unable to get out of that little 2x2 block. You have your magnet beam, but that's all you have, and you'll have nothing else until you reset. So, good thing you do not go too far. Grab the magnet beam with your toe, just stretch it out, pull it in, get back inside the wall, and move on.
So Fishbowl just made it through the section with the beaks on Cutman's stage. Those are the turrets. He's now dodging the super cutters and the fleas to go up to the next set, which has the octopus batteries. Anthole dealt with his own spines. Those are the little Roomba robots we're talking about. As he now gets past Big Eye, he took a little bit more damage than Anthole needed to. So he's going to have to play very careful going into Electman's room here, as he has to dodge the Elect beams on the wall, obviously. But more importantly, he can only take, he maybe can take one damage from Cutman, or excuse me, Electman. So it's going to be a very, very touch and go fight. He has to make sure he does not get one single hit in from Electman. So Fishbowl here had a little trouble starting with the octopus battery section, is doing all right now. And Anthole, let's see here, he rolls into Electman's room, gets the first rolling cutter off, and pops up another one while Electman runs back into it. That's actually pretty good.
Yeah, reading that situation there pretty well. You have absolutely everything is under your control in Electman's fight. You can make sure he does not get a shot off as long as you're careful. So a lot of players are not too concerned about going into that into that fight with low health, and that's the reason why. Anthole executing very well gets him down. However, things not quite the same for Cutman, especially with these turrets.
Oh yeah.
Players do like to be able to take a hit or two in the Cutman fight. That is because they want to keep him in iframes with the Buster, though he does have Gutsman's weapon.
Yeah.
So as long as he gets this quick turnaround
he needs to
off the block.
Yes. He needs to get this quick turnaround, Mythical. He only has a grain of rice as the, believe it or not, these are their actual names. Screw Bombers, and oh my goodness, is it gonna... No! The double whammy.
Yeah. I was really unsure what was gonna happen there. He had the select going like he's like, I cannot.
I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this.
He needs
Boink.
to die.
Unfortunately, yeah, the Screw Bombers, the turrets there, unfortunately took him down to a grain of rice. And unfortunately, that's the fat lady right there. Sung double KO. Because Cutman got on top of that other block. Unfortunately, Fishbowl is taking it in a face from Cutman at the moment.
Oh.
Timing it out, gets the throw. Unfortunately, throws too far. So now he's going to have to finish the fight with the Buster, but he has more than enough health to pack it in, as long as he's very careful. Anthole was going for the energy pickup for the Magnet Beam in Iceman's area, and then unfortunately slipped off the edge.
So he's in a bad Magnet Beam situation. I think he's got enough to go 1-2, get out of here. One more if he's feeling brave to get out of here.
Oh yeah. But,
and then enough to get to the refill in the middle of the screen, but it's going to be tight.
That is a good question, though. He took the refill. Is it going to be there?
It is going to be there. Mega Man 1 is very generous in that regards. I think it's the only Mega Man game where that is the case.
Oh, yeah.
So sure enough, it's there waiting for him. He doesn't like starting on the magnet beam. He wants to try to get on one of these turrets to start his crossing. Okay, gets a hit, manages to get across. Okay, completely out of magnet beam, so he's not going to try an ice wrap or anything crazy as he follows through to the end of the stage. Opponent Fishbowl is struggling a little bit with the Watchers, I believe you called them.
Watchers.
In a Electman stage.
Doing pretty decently.
Yeah, it's possible to do these really quick shots on a ladder. If you fire while on a ladder, you're stuck shooting for about, I don't know, a third of a second or so. But if you follow up your shot with an A to drop off the ladder and an up to re-grab the ladder, you can actually shoot as fast as you can do those inputs, and that lets you kill those Watcher enemies and get off the screen before you get hit by the third one.
There we go by anthole. Almost took it down in the middle of Iceman's fight because he was having trouble with the elect pause glitch. Does get it done. Yeah. Interesting side note, those enemies that we refer to as, the trolls in Iceman stage, the little flying turrets, they're actually called footholders, which they don't do a good job of that.
No, they really, really don't.
So, as you can see here, Fishbowl was having trouble with the Watchers, does make it through. He does have to go through this next section with more Watchers. The difference is, this time though, he's on the right side of the screen, so the left ones are a little bit harder to deal with, because you have to be preemptive for them. So he does do his best there. Anthole is making good use of the magnet beam in the meantime. He's getting the zips he wants for Fireman stage, and he's doing good so far. Both have a robot master, between them pretty much at this point, because Fishbowl is near the end of Electman stage, but Anthole does have the quicker stage with Fireman, but he has to be careful with his zips because you could end up potentially taking it down here.
He picks up the refills because you want all the magnet beam you can play around with in this stage. Going for this zip here, it's possible to use the magnet beam to make that zip a little more consistent, but he just goes for it and he gets it, using the magnet beams to avoid these flame pillars and select glitching through these falling enemies, and now he needs to set up for the scary part of this stage, using the ladder to find the precise pixel underneath the score there, jumping on top and wrapping around, missing the the ladder that he wants to grab from below.
Ooh, very lucky RNG by Fishbowl. Big Eye there normally does not go for two big hops in a row. Gives him two big hops as he's able to slide underneath. And anthole, as you did mention, did miss and did wrap around to the other side of the previous screen. So now he's taking the long way around and he's tanking a lot of damage. This is not something you want to do, specifically going into Fireman's fight, and it's not something you want to do for Electman's fight either. But as you can see there, opting to freeze the flame pillars in place to get into the door. He's trying to conserve as much energy as he can. Here we go with Fishbowl. Unfortunately, he's facing the wrong way. He might get shot right off the bat. Does get the rolling cutter in. Will get the first shot in. Is getting the pause glitch to work. Is going a little bit too fast. What is that screw bomber doing?
Okay, so anthole is playing on emulator. Emulators have several tools and useful features like turbo and save states and displaying the number of lag frames on screen. These are bound to a number of functions on the keyboard. And if you own a pet that, say, is comfortable jumping up onto surfaces, you may find your cat jumping onto the keyboard, activating
the turbo
various emulator functions.
So we're just gonna, we're gonna accept the cat did that. We're gonna let anthole continue. He did ask us if he has to start over. We can accept, cat's doing it, so we're going to let him keep running. The unfortunate thing is, though, for anthole here, he is on one last life, so needs to be just a touch more careful. Meanwhile, Fishbowl has just gotten through the spines and the pang section in the water part of, Iceman. And yes, those penguins are called pangs. I love how they have interesting names for just everything in this game. Although, I do want to know who came up with the name Yoku Block. Definitely an interesting race so far. Fishbowl here is now coming up onto the Yoku Block section of Iceman, going through the second half. He's now going to come up to the Footholder section, while Anthole is heading into Bomb Man stage. So again, the first thing you have to deal with Bomb Man stage, the fleas, those are the jumping little, little octopus jelly thing. And then you have to deal with the bombs, the things that are coming out of the holes flying at you, shattering into 4 pieces. Fishbowl here, having a good footholder section, dodges that last pang very, delicately, very nicely done. Now Anthole has to deal with the screw bombers as he gets to the first ladder, takes an unintended hit. Fishbowl now diving down to the Big Eye section. Big Guy getting his revenge from Electman stage, gives him 1 good jump and then gives him 2 small jumps to the face. Nothing too major though, Fishbowl can't handle. He does have a 1/4 of his life left. He has got a small energy drop there, very good. Brings him back up to maybe about 4 to 5/10 of his health. Will be enough to take down Iceman if he gets a good cycle in. Here we go by Fishbowl. Starts off, gets the select glitch going perfectly. I don't even think Iceman got that far off the ground. Oh, that did get 1 shot off the ground. But he still brings him down with no problems. Anthole here, setting up for Bomb Zip. Nails it. Ooh, oh no, he forgot to turn around. Oh, Anthole. And that was his last life, too. So unfortunately, he now has to redo Bomb Man stage. From that minor setback, he unfortunately did not turn around at the right time at the last second and went flinging into the hole. Ugh, that is not good for Anthole. This is going to allow Fishbowl to pull ahead here. And Fishbowl is doing a fantastic job. He's coming up on, they're both coming up on 17 minutes in, and Fishbowl is almost done with Mega Man 1. This is a bit of improvement over his last run that he had. This is turning out to be good for Fishbowl. He definitely took his last match seriously, and he's now taking this one definitely extra seriously as he wants to advance. He's definitely fighting here, ladies and gentlemen. He wants to make it work. Anthole is just getting past Sniper Joe, now has to deal with the flying bullets and the beaks, the things that with the turrets, as Fishbowl is now in the fire part of Fireman section, having to deal with the fire pillars, is not opting to use Magnet Beam. He's going by foot, traversing, has to be a little bit more careful here. He's got a little bit of a low health situation coming up, but he does have those pickups there, and he will take them. Meanwhile, Anthole, here he comes again with the reattempt at the bomb zip. Sets it up. Unfortunately, the flying bullets don't give him much love, so he has to reset it. Time it again. Here he goes. He times it. He gets it. Let's see if he does it again. Does it. And this time he gets the turnaround. So perfect. He gets into Bomb Man's area. Thankfully, though, for Fishbowl, he has enough of an advantage into Fireman that he could get to Mega Man 2 before Anthole, even though he has Gutsman and the Magnet Beam at his advantage coming up next after Bomb Man. Get into Bomb Man's fight. He's doing good. He gets him stun locked. He's using the preventive circle around him to do extra damage instead of using the actual pellet. Very good strategy there. Does take no damage, which actually does help him out a bit. Fishbowl, now having to deal with his own fire bullets and the spines on the ground, is tanking a little bit too much damage here. You know, alternatively speaking, you could pull out the Elect Beam and take these things down, but he's not opting to do that. Interesting strat. He now has a 4 of his life. He has to be careful coming up here, trying to get past the tackle fires. Does it. He gets to the gate. So in case he does take it down, he will be fine. He has enough extra lives. Pulls out Rolling Color to deal with the Screw Bombers. Very interesting choice. One of them shows some love and gives him a little bit of energy. Only one of them, though. So it might be enough to get past Fireman. This might be the advantage Fishbowl is looking for his Anthole here. Using the Magnet Bridge in order to get across here. Magnet Beam, very good job. Has to deal with the annoying flying pest that he has in front of him. I'm trying to find the name. The Bladers. As he has to get through now the Picket Men. Meanwhile, Fishbowl, having an almost clean Fireman fight, gets the number, and he's moving on to Mega Man 2 at 19 minutes and 43 seconds into this race, ladies and gentlemen. This is looking good for Fishbowl.
He's got a minus 136 on his splits. It is gold. That is the best he has done in Mega Man 1 so far, and that was a really tense fireman fight that he did a great job of staying on top of. If you do not get that select glitch going, and your projectile passes all the way through him, you need to shoot him again, and in that time, I guarantee you Fireman is going to throw some really hard to dodge fire waves your way, and at that low health, that would have been really scary for him. So we saw him over mashing on the select glitch, making sure he got every single hit he could out of that projectile, and it served him well as he's into Mega Man 2, starting with Airman, not Flashman.
He did this last time too, I'd like to point out.
I don't know what his thinking is with that. Oh, you know what? He likes having some things for Flashman so he can pick up the E-Tank.
Oh yeah, the Crash Bombers. That's a thought process, okay. So he's going to have to make this a very, very good played, you know, Mega Man 2 route, because this is, unfortunately, this is where he lost a lot of time last time. So he's going to have to play good and close to the vest. Anthole just finished Bomb Man and is now starting Mega Man 2 himself, so Fishbowl having the small, tiniest lead going into Airman. He thankfully gets to the halfway point before Anthole starts Fireman. He's having a good job here. He's doing really good, you know, Fishbowl here. He's doing a very excellent job keeping, you know, in tune, doing what he needs to do. I'm really loving Fishbowl's game here.
Oof. Just not quite enough distance to take that boost on the drill. You either got to commit to jumping as far as possible so that you have enough room to bounce back and not fall off, or you cut the jump really short, jump to just put your toe on the corner and avoid taking damage at all. Of course, you could also just wait for the drills to retreat the way you did there.
He's having trouble with the goblins and the gremlins. That's what those face things are actually called, which is surprisingly. And then for the air things here, they're called Fan Fiends or Mastaburo. Unfortunately, the Mastaburo getting the better Fishbowl there. This is where Fishbowl's problems began last time. So he has to take out Mastaburo a little bit better here to deal with PP, the one that's bringing the eggs by and dropping them in. Meanwhile, Anthole here having a good run, getting through, you know, Sniper Joe's area. And turns out, those things that are riding are actually called Sniper Armors. Interesting side note, they do 2 points of shot damage, but their contact does 8, which is really painful.
You do not want to do that. It damages a lot. And health is at a premium in Airman stage, especially if you're doing the fast air strategy.
Oh yeah.
Airman is one of the bosses that can give you some pretty much undodgeable attacks. So taking damage is pretty much part of that fight, even if you're trying to do it safely. Meanwhile, we got a Flashman kill for Anthole, who has now regained the lead thanks to these troubles in Airman stage for his opponent, but he can hopefully put them behind him going into the boss fight with full health.
Oh yes, he's definitely doing a lot better this time. He has not suffered a down at Airman stage, which is what set him back last time. He unfortunately did take, you know, a couple deaths, but he did not suffer a down to a game over this time around, so very good. Finishes up Airman, gets him in 2 to 3 cycles. Boom. Again, I am very impressed by Fishbowl. Anthole had a little bit of a trouble decision trying to decide what he's going to do. Decides, nah, I'm going to go air second.
This is the safer strategy. The other route is heat second. It means you have to do the Yoku block section. And it also means you're setting yourself up for fast air. I suppose you don't technically have to do it, but if you are going to do heat second, the reason is to save time in Airman stage doing fast air, which is much harder than just riding these cloud platforms. So he's going to do air second, and we're going to see if he has something in mind. You can still do things to speed up his cloud section, even if you don't have the item ones. You can jump out to the edges of the screen when you're about to spawn the next cloud, spawn it a little earlier, and then return to the safety of your cloud. And doing that, along with killing the enemies with some clever jump shots, you can actually avoid waiting for this last cloud to cycle all the way around. You can jump on it as soon as possible, and then jump off of it, and just barely clear the gap. That is the super jump, and it's pretty tricky, but it's sort of a hybrid between doing fast air and doing this slower waiting strategy. that Anthole has selected to do. Taking some hits there on his way through the checkpoint. So he's going to have to be a little bit concerned about his health, actually waiting for the drills here.
So those little nasty worm spewing things are actually called squirms. Which is weird. And we actually have the name for those cloud riding enemies. They're actually called Lightning Lords, or Kaminari Goro. And as you can see here, Fishbowl is having a little bit of struggle with the tellies here. Doing the best he can. Master Burrow is giving Anthole a little bit of trouble trying to blow him off while he's in Airman's area. PP comes flying by and gives him a little bit of a health pickup that he didn't need, but he'll definitely take it anyway, because he now has the ability to fully bust your Airman without any troubles. Meanwhile, Fishbowl is getting through the section with the tellies here and the revolving platforms, is doing alright. Anthole here going in, starting to score a few hits, gets 3 shots in on the first pass, gets 3 shots in on the second pass, and gets the last shot in and scores. Airman is down.
Decent fight for him. Fishbowl is playing this really, really safe in Cloudman stage, or not Cloudman.
Crashman.
I'm looking at Cloud, so I say Cloud. It's Crashman. Not going for the zip. That's understandable. The zip is a little crazy, and you need to look up the tutorial and do some things that don't really make sense. Even though the execution is fairly simple once you know what you are doing.
Quick interjection, he had no lives left. Sorry, just wanted to point that out. That's why he did not go for it.
But he's showing he's really unfamiliar just using the item 1s to skip those sections with the moving platform. You can save so much time on those sections with just 1 or 2 item 1s. And he's just not comfortable with the necessary inputs to jump up and place one and then land on it. Even so, you could probably just put one on the ground, ride it a while, put another one, ride it a while, save a whole bunch of time. In general, he seems to want to stick with the Buster. I don't know if he's just really uncomfortable accessing the menu, feels like he wastes too much time hesitating, but those rooms take so much time. Even a really slow menu is going to save you a whole bunch of time.
So Anthole here, he made it past the Flyboys and the Tellies, makes it up to the Yoku Block section, getting past the Springers or the Springheads. Fishbowl now getting into Cutman. Wow, thanks, you're messing me up now too. Gets into Crashman's room and brings him down. So we can see Anthole here setting up with item 3. He's gonna go for fast heat, attempting to get it done. Having a little trouble getting it started, which is going to give Fishbowl a bit of an advantage here as he heads into Flashman stage. I can see the thought process behind this, as you mentioned. Again, he has the Crash Bombers, so this will allow him to blow down, the breakable blocks to get extra pickups, and it actually gives him access to a safer route, which helps. The thing he has to deal with at the first part of Flashman, though, is the Shotmen, or, the Crazy Cannons. These guys are just giving him a little bit of trouble. Meanwhile, Anthole deciding it's taking too long. He has to fight his way now through the tellies and the Yoku blocks. Something he didn't want to do too early, but now he has no choice. And again, we can reconfirm just by watching Fishbowl's screen there as he's switching off Crash Bomber. He indeed has no lives remaining in the tank, so he has to be careful. As we can see here, Fishbowl not opting to go around and destroy the 3 top blocks, goes down the safe, the hard path. Sniper armor catches him, so that's a big hit there. Anthole struggling with the Yoku block section, does make it through. Meanwhile, Fishbowl heading down the shaft through Flashman's area. Anthole pulls out item 2. Fishbowl fighting his way through the squirms, gets down the path. Anthole shooting just high of the 1-up, just a kneecap shy. Does make it across with item 2. Fishbowl tanks the Sniper Joe here. Tanks the sniper armor, has a lot of energy loss going through. Anthole had a very scary situation getting through this. Whoa.
He's going into the Heatman fight with really low health, so I won't be surprised to see him play this really safe. Heatman likes to charge at you after every single hit, and while you can shorten it by staying right next to him, it happens really fast, and it's a little random.
No.
Gets hit by the very first charge. Maybe he's not too worried about dying that quickly. respawn, get it going again. It would have been much worse if he had fought him for a long time, especially had fought him really safely, and then died at the end. So maybe a blessing in disguise there for him. Flashman fight for his opponent, getting flashed just before he lands the last hit, but there it is. As Hitman goes down as well.
Quick side note, just for everyone doing this run, I've tested this one out myself just to prove this as a point. It's actually quicker if you've done Airman second to use Air Shooter instead of the Buster on Heatman, because you'll do more damage. It's like a grain of rice or two more, but it'd be a quicker strat to do that. Yes, I've actually gone out of my way and done some curiosital things just to check things out, because I have made some comments during these races about, why haven't they tried this, why not try that, this is an option. I've gone and actually took some time yesterday when I got home from work and tested some of these things out for myself just to see how they work.
I wonder if it's the cost of the menu switching to Air Shooter.
Probably.
That makes that.
Fishbowl having some fun there, going to Quickman stage, activates the PP scroll. And yes, that's the birds. Meanwhile, Anthole is heading into Crashman.
Not going for Biggie. It's a really advanced strategy to get into this first zip, but I fully expect him to switch to some item ones here and go for the zip on the second screen after he deals with these tellies. Looks like he's trying to manipulate them to clear some space, but he's also not switching to the item one. All right, there. Gets the 2 kills, switches to the item one while they're out of the way, able to initiate the zip.
Good thoughts by Fishbowl here. He opted to go down the right side during the first, set of quick lasers, and he gets the E-tank and the 1-up. That's an excellent, point of process to do, just so you don't take too much damage. And we can see that Anthole was messed up the timing on the atomic fire, trying to get it to time just right so he could skip the death animation. Oh, Fishbowl! Unfortunately, he was a little too slow getting into that second laser section. Does take a face shot from the lasers. He takes it down, but he did remember to grab the 1-up, so it's not too costly just now.
But he is down to 0 lives at this point, so he's got to be thinking about that as he heads in for a second try.
Oh, yeah. Had a little shaky start there.
Yeah, got caught a little bit on that ledge. There's some screens where you can do that. There's some screens where you cannot.
Ooh, he had a very close call. Fishbowl here playing a little bit risky. He's having a little bit of trouble here. He's getting some very close calls coming up into this last section, and makes it through.
Meanwhile, Anthole's been having a bit of trouble with his crash climb. His item 1 placements to start off were a little off, and the item 3s as well. Not quite working for him. Going as fast as possible on that screen is incredibly difficult. It's very a number of very precise inputs that you need to do, and then you can come up with some kind of hybrid of your own, like I'm only going to place item 3s here and there, and I'm only going to plant them, climb up, and then land on top of them rather than try to drop on top of them instantly. There's always a ton of variation, and also you need to adapt to when things go wrong. Suddenly there's a bird in front of you, and maybe you want a platform to land on, and it's an opportunity to save and lose a lot of time. And looked like it didn't quite go Anthole's way, though he is now through with Crashman, as Fishbowl is done with Quickman. Had a pretty solid fight, jamming him point blank with the crash bombs. Both players going to be moving on.
Actually, for Fishbowl, he bustered him, and he actually got a pretty good, pattern where, Quickman didn't really go too far out of his way. Quickman stayed pretty much center to where he was, so he managed to get hits as Quickman jumped over and back through him, and Quickman never touched him once. It was always the quick boomerangs. So they really had a good shot going there. Anthole now going into, as we said, Quickman stage, starting the fast section, first fast section, gets down, avoids getting the extra life in the E-tank, starts to pull out the flash stopper. Instead, cycling through his items here, couldn't find the air shooter. Fishbowl used Flash Stopper in the first section of Metal Man here. Very good thought process, especially when you're going into the section you just came out of, with the moles going down and the press in his way. Again, the press being the little thing that comes down from the ceiling with spikes, and the moles being the drills. Anthole pulls out Flash Stopper for the second half of Quickman's area. Gets through the first screen, almost had a close collision call. Had a second close collision call there while Fishbowl heads into the second part of Metal Man stage. Anthole playing really safe and too close here at the same time. Not sure what he's going to do with Flash Stopper just yet. He does have it on the ready though. Having a little bit of trouble here. He seems like he's being a little bit behind pressing his button inputs, but he makes it through overall just fine. Fishbowl, good strategy here. He's using Quick Boomerang to get through the sections with the Parabots and the Blockies. The Parabot being the screw enemy, the Blockies being, you know, the Tower of Mess. Opts for item 2 at the last second. Very good idea. Avoids the Springers. That'll get him into the gate a little bit quicker to catch up with Anthole, who just made it to Quickman. As he turns back for Quick Boomerangs, getting ready for the fight, Anthole now starting with the Crash Bombers. Missed that first one. It's gonna cost him a little bit. Only got one extra hit out of that. Gets the second one down. Gets the explosion in. Meanwhile, Fishbowl was going bananas trying to fight Metal Man and gets it done though. So they're both pretty much neck and neck at this point.
Yeah, that was a decent recovery in Quickman's fight for Anthole. If you miss a Crash Bomb, you want to kind of go stand next to it, manipulate Quickman to jump after you and into the explosion. Hopefully he takes a bunch of hits. If you whiff with that, you're going to have to try to survive until you can throw another one. And that's not always possible depending on how much health you go into the fight with, so avoiding a bad situation. There is Anthole moving into Metal Man stage. Probably going to go for a zip here. We did not see this from Fishbowl. It's the most advantageous zip to learn. You can see you cover so much distance, you avoid a really annoying conveyor belt section, and it's a B-trigger zip as well, so it's very easy to initiate once you get the placement of that item 1. Is there a prize for the winner? Only glory at the moment.
Yeah, fame, glory, and the ability to move on, I believe.
There have been some recent instances of speedrun tournaments with prizes. Well, not so much tournaments, but there was a cash prize for a Zelda race of the first 4 Zeldas. Zelda 1, 2 on the NES, Link's Awakening, and A Link to the Past. And there was a couple $100 up for grabs. First place got $600. That was mostly due to generous donators who just kind of wanted to put a bounty up and see some really high-level Zelda play. So that was quite interesting, and there's possibly a future for prizes for this sort of thing. But for now, this is just a community event focused on fun and an exhibition of skill and a thing that people enjoy. Got the quick boomerangs out in Bubble Man stage. This seems to be a weapon that Fishbowl is very comfortable with. We saw him switch to it in Metal Man stage, which is a good idea because it's Metal Man's weakness. But then he switched to item 2 and then back to quick. So that initial switch to quick came with 2 extra menus, basically. And he didn't do too much with it. It's definitely easier to fight those enemies that he fought with quick than with the Buster. But given his tendency to not switch weapons in other sections of the game, I was pretty surprised to see him readily switch to the quick boomerang there in Metal Man stage. It just seems like that's a weapon he's really comfortable with. Likes the high ammo count. Probably you can go nuts with it and never really run out with it.
So Fishbowl here is opting to go to Heatman next. I was very certain he was going to save it for last, because again, if he used it last, he could have gotten through, you know, the fight really quickly by, you know, ending it with Metal Blades and just, you know, going through. Excuse me, I had Bubble Leb. He could have done it and, you know, gotten through the item skip and gotten the 3 faster. But instead, it looks like he's going to get Atomic Fire for, you know, Woodman. Because alternatively, if you don't have it, you could use Metal Blades. So, Interesting thought process by Fishbowl here, deciding to go this route instead of going to Woodman next, which, honestly, in my opinion, in this setup, the way Fishbowl was playing, I seriously thought he was going to go to Woodman next.
Yeah, Woodman also pretty vulnerable to air shooter. You're able to sort of jam it in through his wood shield and hit him while he's charging that up. So when he's got more health in Rockman 2, it's actually the faster strat is to shoot him with the air shooters point blank. So that and Metal Blades both at his disposal to deal with Woodman, but he is going to leave it last here. And that's a shame. He could have saved, I think, something like 14 seconds.
Definitely.
By switching the order just from the cutscene.
Interesting.
We did not see Goodwood, unfortunately, from anthole.
Yeah, I don't think either one's going to go for it.
And just went through that stage normally. Saved his item 2 for the last screen. It's a little better there rather than the first screen if you're not doing the zip. So it was definitely a measured choice from him right at the start of the screen, at the stage.
So Fishbowl, unfortunately, missing that last Yoku block timing a little bit, opts to pull out Crash Bomber and just blow his way through. Not a bad thought process. Meanwhile, as you can see here, anthole has started Bubble Man stage. He now has to deal with the Karogs and the mini Karogs. Those are the frogs, alternatively called Croakers. As you can see here, anthole doing the Yoku block section. Again, Fishbowl this time, same thing as anthole, is just a shin too high of getting the extra one up. So, thankfully, does pull out the quick boomerang to take out the sniper armor. Good thought process there, because sniper armor is indeed weak to quick boomerang. It gets it down quick. It's also alternatively weak to air shooter.
So there are some strategies, particularly in Quickman stage with those stompers before the boss room, because you're pretty concerned about your health in that situation. A lot of players go for the zip and they miss it, and then those purple stompers are right below them, giving them trouble. In that situation, you'll often see players switch to either quick or air shooter to deal with those stompers because they do so much damage.
Yes, I actually have the damage count right in front of me. Let me find it exactly. Sniper armor does 8 points of damage full contact, and we've discussed this the other day. You have 28 points of health?
I think that's right.
Yeah, so give or take, that's about a fourth of your life bar right there. Because, yeah, 16, 6 plus 6 equals, 6 plus 6. Well, yep, that adds over just about, because that gives you up to about 20. That would do 14, so the two put together gives you 24. So about 4 or 5 hits you can take from sniper armor, give or take, with it being, very, very painful. Anthole here is going to get a slight advantage over Fishbowl going into Mega Man 3 next, because Bubble Man is now down. But it's not going to be too much of an advantage. Again, coming up, though, Fishbowl was not really strong in 3 last time, too. We're definitely going to see if he, gets some, good love going into Woodman here. He has improved since his last match. I still want to point that out. So,
he's got the Metal Blades out early in Woodman stage. It's possible to use a fully charged heat to take out these dogs if you so wish. Oh, it looked like he was jumping into the ceiling there for a mini zip. It's a way to save just a little bit of time, and it actually becomes very important if you're trying to use the 3-dog flash strategy. By freezing these dogs with Flash Stopper before they spawn, you can just walk right past them. But the Flash Stopper only lasts so long, and it turns out that it's very hard to make it last for all 3 dogs. In fact, impossible unless you jump into the ceiling on the screen transition, turn left, and get a tiny little mini zip that ends up scooting you forward just enough to make it past the 3rd dog before it rematerializes.
The hot dogs / frienders are definitely not friendly. Period. So as we can see, anthole is now on to Mega Man 3. Gotta pull up my next list. I love having these list of enemy names on hand.
Having a bit of trouble with the Yoku blocks in Magnet Man stage. This is one of the reasons why it is a little unfriendly as a starting stage. It does save you a ton of headaches in other stages, but Magnet First certainly does have its challenges, and this room is the biggest one. Hopping along into the boss corridor is Fishbowl. Has the metal blades out, and he's gonna fight Woodman with the metal blades anyway. So not even gonna save time on the atomic fire. You're just chucking them at him.
He almost got him in one cycle, though. That's impressive. I don't think I've ever seen someone completely get, you know, Woodman in one cycle with metal blades before. So if he actually got that, I would have been, you know, very impressed. Meanwhile, Anthole makes it back past the Giant Springer and the new Shotman to get into Magnet Man's room. He's going to go for the Buster on this section. Fishbowl, in the meanwhile, is going to start out with Top Man first this time. A little bit different strategy from last time. So he has to deal with the screw enemies there, Button and Nuttin, and the little hopping frog enemies. I have their name here. Give me 1 second. There it is. Mecha Kero is their name.
Kero means frog, basically. So Mecha Frog. I also have a theory about the Master Boroa, or whatever it was from Mega Man 2. Probably just a
Resprite? You're actually kind of correct. It's actually called Komasoroboro. Excuse me. Komasaboro is his name. So yeah. Very interesting.
Boro was probably just blower, taking that English word and using the Japanese syllables to make it happen. Makes a lot of sense given that he's got a giant fan on his belly. Anyway, Magnet Man is down. It was a pretty long fight. If you've got the Buster, you have to deal with his patterns, and basically, if you don't have the health to cancel his invincibility shield thing that he does, every time he crosses the screen, you're going to have to wait for something. He's either going to jump up out of reach, or he's going to put on the shield.
No!
And that means that fight can drag out pretty long. Also, we've got some bees now in Hardman stage. There's over
Anthole.
10 on screen.
Oh my goodness. Habsubi is having its way with Anthole here. That is the name of the run-by bee dropper. Ah, the Habsubi is literally your worst enemy there. Coming up on Hammer Joe here, he has magnets out, opts to turn around, and turns around and gets Rush Coil out. But yeah, literally Anthole getting bee-bombed by Habsubi there. Just literally getting believed. Fishbowl here.
Hopefully he's not too bereaved about it. Moving on to Top Man. This scary, scary section here is Fishbowl jumping pretty early to land on that top.
No!
It's possible to hit that top entirely.
Anthole believing in the returning Monking, literally getting all over him.
Yeah, these monkeys are...
They're spank tankers.
You don't want them on your back at all. A lot of strategies will pause for just a moment to get rid of them for that exact reason. Top Man fight. Fishbowl just needs to jump over, finish him off. There it is. Solid fight from him. He's starting with Top Man. This is technically the hardest route to execute on. But way, way, way back in the day,
it was the only route.
It was the only route, sure. But there were some differences that I think if you were to follow it now, would make it a little easier execution-wise. So we'll see what kind of follow-up he has. He is going to Shadow.
Oh boy.
This is going to be a really tough stage to do second, taking this this difficult route.
Oh yeah. Fishbowl fans, put on your RNGesus praying clothes. This is unfortunately, you know, where a lot of his problems came in last time. Let's see if he can actually pull this off and, you know, make some good love happen out of this. He definitely needs it. Gets past the Pickle Man Bowl, heads into the fight with, you know, Proto Man, as Anthole got it past the Big Stomper. I have to pull up its actual name again. Starts Hardsman's fight.
I don't think anyone's going to call it anything other than the Stomper.
Oh yeah.
There's like 6 different Stompers in every single...
That one's called Vicky. And he had a pretty good Hardman fight.
Stomper. You say something and I hear Stomper. That's the way it's going to be. We're moving on. We got Shadow Man's fight, stage rather. This first section, you're not going to die or take a lot of damage, but you can get slowed down quite a bit here, having to try to optimize your movement on all of these variations in platforming heights, and also having to buster down some of these enemies.
Yeah, the Paterchis and the walking bombs there. Not exactly your best friends. Neither of these mecha frogs. And as he comes up on the section that really gave him some trouble last time, these enemies right here, the Parasuyu, these things, pretty much Japanese for parachute. This thing is just a nightmare and a half in this one section. So as you can see, Fishbowl opting to play a little bit more careful this time. As Anthole heads into top man, I see where he's going with this one. So he's trying to be very, very careful as he possibly can here, going through this section. He's bustering down the parachutes pretty nicely, just has to be careful of the Mecha Frog coming up. They have surprise snipe.
Convinced there was one last one there.
Hey, it's a good thing he's playing as safe as he is this time around, because it's actually helping him out. It's actually doing him favors. Meanwhile, Anthole's on the second half, coming up on the first big cat in top man stage.
All right, we got. He's gonna, E-tank. No E-tank, and he gets it. Wow. Very risky maneuver from Fishbowl, fighting Shadow Man with low health like that. It's so easy to trade hits with the topspin weapon. When he had that E-tank, he was hovering over it in the menu, and I was okay. Yeah, no, he's definitely
going for it.
Saw it there, has it in mind, ready to use it if he needs it. And then when he took that hit, I was like, okay, he needs it. Switch to it. He did not. He gets the kill anyway. Keeps the E-tank. Fantastic job.
Oh, no. Oh, please, Fishbowl. I understand your thought process. Please don't do this again. Oh, Fishbowl. He's very dedicated. This is the route he took last time, and then, again, he had a better run with Shadow Man, but again, this is where a lot of problems, again, started happening for Fishbowl. Again, going for the glory here. He does not have an E-tank in his disposal, but he does have enough lives, so in case something does go wrong, it's not too bad. But
plus, he's just been playing much better all around compared to last time, so I won't be surprised, honestly, if this stage goes very smoothly for him. As smoothly as Top Man went for his opponent. Just finished him off with the hard knuckle. Looked like he killed him on the left side of the screen. Unsure if that was a really solid 1 cycle or a 3 cycle. Paying attention to Needleman stage with bated breath. But he's got him down, and he's going to be moving on to Shadow Man himself. Big difference between his route and his opponent's is he will have those magnets for the parachute section. It's going to help him out a lot. Oh, nice. He took a detour in Needleman stage to fill up rush jet ammo with a large weapon refill, and then used that to pick up an E-tank. So he's got some safety backups here as part of his route.
He's definitely going to need the E-tank for this fight coming up, because, again, he's walking in with about a fourth of his life, having to get past Bicky here. Does Bicky show him some love? Nope, shows him a small energy. Meanwhile, Anthole has the Parachis and the walking bombs to deal with as he goes through the shadow part of Shadow Man stage. Here comes Fishbowl. This is going to be a good tight, folks. This is going to be a really tight fight. Starts in, takes a needle to the face, is trying to tank on top of him. I think he intentionally took that down, though.
Seemed like it. He was attacking him. Like, I guess if he just fluked out, maybe he would kill him, but seemed to be doing a very good job of staying exactly where you do not want to be, taking all the hits there. So we see what he has in mind. Second time around. Range on Shadow Blade, I think it kind of outranges the danger stuff from Needleman. But he's not really playing at max range. He is close. He is taking a lot of hits. He's dead, and now I'm not sure what his life count is.
Got 2 lives left.
Life. Okay.
So he's definitely going to have to play this one a little bit more careful. Again, I understand his process by doing this, but it is risky as all can be. He literally has to play a little bit tighter to the vest here. He needs to stay out of, contact and body range with Needleman. That is his problem, but unfortunately his chosen weapon, Shadow Blade, does not give him that liberty. Meanwhile, Anthole gets him down. Fishbowl is on his last life now, is having a lot of trouble with this fight. Again, Needleman, his needle shots do 4 damage. Contact is 6. Needle Crown, when he throws his head at you, is 6 damage too. Literally, it is not something you need to have happen to you. You cannot take physical damage.
Honestly, he could just kind of win the DPS race.
He could,
if he
but
can
he
hit
needs
those
to
Shadow
heal.
Blades. He keeps missing the Shadow Blades. So this time
There's
around,
the
he knows
heal.
he's out of lives, he's out of ammo. He has to make it happen this time around. So now he's going to the E-Tank. Just stop missing, okay?
Ah, the last Shadow Blade missed.
Over to the Buster.
He has to get distance. He needs to put distance. Fishbowl needs to put distance. He's not putting distance in. Starts to put the distance in. Needleman closes in and takes the kill.
Oof. The problem, like, absolutely, you want to keep your distance from him, but you don't want to go too far because it's really hard to dodge his needles when he's firing them very low to the ground. You want to be somewhat close if he fires the needles, so that you give yourself room to move back and dodge them. So you want to stay at kind of mid-range, I feel, with that fight. And at that range, you can hit with the Shadow Blade, as long as your spacing is correct. So I think he could... That strategy is sound, going needle there. I don't think there's a flaw there. I think if he were to spend a solid 15-30 minutes or so, maybe not so much even,
Oh, yeah.
just dancing around with Needleman, figuring out very particularly spacing, paying mind to that, I think he'll find his success chances with that fight go way up. Dealing with some annoying bubbles here
Yeah,
is Anthole.
Anthole having to deal
Shot
with these
one.
poles here. The little spawnlings that come out of the bubbles. Meanwhile, Fishbowl's having his fun trying to get through here. Again, Fishbowl's problem is he decided to tank too much of the Needle Crown to the face, so his strategy was try to use Shadow Blade because it does 2 points of damage, but he took too much damage, so he was doing good, but again, this is where things started to falter. Last time he stuck with Needleman. Thankfully, he's being a little bit smarter, going for Sparkman here. He's going to opt to pull up the lag and pull out the Rush Jet here. A lot of people seem to do this so he can get past Button and the Nuttons. But unfortunately, the Button and Nuttons adding lag as they come together, so it does drag him back a little bit. Meanwhile, Anthole, here we go. Pulls out Rush Coil, is not opting to call 1-800-R-Marine. He's gonna go platforming. Not a very sound strategy sometimes, because again, you've got the, the Fish Marines down below shooting their missiles. You've got the Dragonflies coming at you. Fishbowl, on the other hand, very nice fight from Sparkman. Gets it done. As we can see here, Anthole is now opting to pull out Shadow Blade. Trying to get through this last section. Gets the E-Tank and does it good.
Yeah, Shadow Blade can help you hit these Mecha Frogs and also will help you during the boss fight for sure. So using that opportunity to switch just there, really low on health. If you can shoot 2 shots while you're on the ladder. I think they might have to be Shadow Blade's weapon in order for the timing to be correct, but basically that would delay you just enough so that when you hit the ledge and jump, you will match your jump with the Stomper enemy, and you can get it over him pretty easily. He did not do that, so he had to wait at the ledge and hesitate and figure out, am I going to be safe to jump over this guy? And that was a tricky situation for him. Not quite as tricky as this Gemini Man fight. Dodge the laser, dodge the body. Get the last hit, please.
Oof!
Ooh.
That was about as tight as it could possibly get.
Yeah, Gemini Man's stage and fight combined lend themselves well to creating these high-tension moments with low health and a lot on the line. So Anthole gets it done, as one of these very difficult stages out of his way. He's going to be moving on to Needleman, which should be a much easier stage with the Gemini laser in hand.
Alright, so now
Rush Jet
he's...
pulled out for Magnet. One of the advantages coming here later is you can skip these Yoku blocks.
Yeah, if you're not really good with the Yoku blocks and you're not comfortable with them, the best strategy is to get Rush Jet to get through part of these so it's easier. Anthole here, being smart, he's trying to take down, you know, the porcupines there using Gemini Laser. It's actually their weakness. It one-shots them. Very useful, you know, to get through them. The Harries just gotta, you know, tank through these guys. As you can see here, Fishbowl's on the last part with the Giant Springer getting into the boss door.
Magnet Man is down. No problem with the weakness of Sparkman's weapon. A very long fight becomes quite short.
He also had Shadow Blades too, so either way could have gone for that one, so... As you can see here, Anthole is opting to use magnets on Hammer Joe here. Unfortunately, his magnets got a little hit missy. Alright, so... Fishbowl is starting to make a little bit of a comeback here. Uh-oh. Anthole just realized he's got no energy tanks. He's really gonna have to watch this one here. As Fishbowl starts in with the Habsubis. Oh no! Anthole almost had a complete miss! Very close! Ooh! Taking one to the face!
Gonna do a laser. Rebound.
Do a laser, rebounding.
Dodge. Goes for the bank shot to catch him in the air. The rebound tempts him. Wow. These guys have gone above and beyond to create some pretty great boss fights for us on this in this race.
Can someone clip that fight? Like, jeez.
When he took that hit, I was like, I didn't see that the health is pretty small on my screen. I wasn't sure if he could take that hit or not. And when he lived, I was like, oh my god, it's a huge opportunity. How can he make this work? And then he missed that laser, and I was like, oh, that's it, right? And no, it was not. Dodging and getting him on the rebound. So we got ourselves Hardman and Snake Man coming up, using the magnets on these gigantic snake heads. Not as big as the biggest ones, I suppose. We'll see if he's going to rush jet past those. I anticipate he will, but he's not pulling it out just yet. There it is. Pretty low on health and stuck with these bees and bear traps. Oh my.
Yeah. Bees, bear traps, and busters, oh my! Thankfully he does make it all the way into Proto-Man's fight. And interesting note about Proto-Man, if you're not comfortable with the buster, his weakness is Hard Knuckle.
Well, it's pretty hard to hit him with Hard Knuckle when he's
jumping
around the way he is. But you're right, that could absolutely be an option. Unfortunately, in this fight, you don't have the Hard Knuckle.
Yeah, unfortunately. Fishbowl having a good battle with the Biggie there. Anthole now trying to get around. Hammer Joe does it using Rush Jet. Fishbowl now into Hardman's fight. Starts firing the magnets. Just barely misses for what he was trying to do. He's trying to set up for the stun skip. Does not get it, but does get the kill nonetheless. Very good fight on Hardman stage.
Yeah, he dealt with that pattern second time around much more smoothly, landed 2 extra hits than he did on the previous pass. Set himself up for an easy kill. After the stun, he's going to be moving on. As we got more Rush Jet. Nope, just kidding. See you, Rush. I'll pull you out later. Here he is.
Sorry,
going to
Feasel.
the top of the screen.
Sorry, Feasel, but that's just not possible. It's not called the Hard Fist, it's called the Hard Knuckle. I'm looking at the thing.
I think both are
acceptable, but when you start talking about using a Hard Fist on a certain boss, let it run.
I don't know. I mean, Hard Knuckle kind of also has its own.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, they're both
So,
kind of touchy, but Hard Knuckle sounds less destructive than, Hard Fist.
well, whatever. We'll call it Hard Man's weapon if we
That,
have to.
that doesn't sound any better!
No, it does. It's not good at all. But at least it doesn't put weird images in your mind. We got Snake Man down for Anthole, and we got a very tough stage for Fishbowl. He's in Gemini Man stage. He's got a lot of things he can switch to at this point, particularly Magnet to help with this section. But ooh, not quite getting Proto Man. Skip just standing
Denied by
there
a
with
pixel.
one toe on the edge, staring at him. Get out of here. All right, he's gone. Unfortunately, the music is not gone. Well, depending on how you look at it. The music is pretty good. Maybe you want to hear it. But the truth is that it lags the game a little bit. And Gemini's stage is already pretty laggy. So an opportunity to save some time with lag reduction goes away along with Proto Man as he shoots his way through these eggs and approaches an even scarier part of Gemini Man stage.
Oh yeah. This section coming up with, the little penguins and then the penguin maker. Yeah, it starts to add up a little bit.
Got a Sparkman stage from Anthole. Very scary looking section that actually goes pretty smoothly once you've taken the time to figure out exactly what you want to do. You can basically just kind of hold right and slide and jump and you'll be okay. So some players still get nervous though, still use the rush jet. It's a fine but slower alternative. So the format for this tournament, it starts with some group stages. Oh, Enemy TV is in chat, so you're going to get straight from the source. He is the lead organizer of the tournament, but he's not on the mic, so I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about it for anyone watching the VOD, I guess. It's group stages, 4 people per group. They all play each other once in a round-robin sort of format, and the 2 people with the best records in those groups will move on to a single elimination bracket.
And then from there, we'll go down to the best 20 players that advance from each bracket, from each pool. Then they'll be all, mixed together. And then from there, we'll go down to, they're playing one-on-one games, and the first one to finish, moves on. And then do we have a loser's bracket going to for this, or...?
Nope, that would be double elimination.
Okay.
We're going with single elimination. So yeah, it gets really tense after you make it out of pools. Every match counts.
Every match already counted enough, and now it's counting even more. As Anthole here gets into 4 first, so this is gonna, add up a little bit on, Fishbowl's mind, who's still playing a really good, tight game here. Doing the best he can. Again, going with Shadow Blade strats on
You need
Gemini.
to hit him with the Shadow Blade! Ah! He gets jumped on.
He is getting jumped on, but he does not make the recovery. Oof. So as you can see here, Anthole going for Brightman first, having some fun there. He's using the baton to jump across the pits there, getting through all the spiky parts. As he comes up on the Gachapon, and then he has to deal with totem pollens along the way too.
Using the E-Tank, a very smart choice.
Oh yeah.
After running out of ammo, kind of too many hits to deal with on this Gemini Man fight. But with his resources, he's able to close it out no problem. I think he's got...
Boom.
How many more? He's got 2 more Robot Masters?
Yep, he has 2 more, because unfortunately he took the down at Needleman stage, so...
Right.
Totem pull in here, adding some lag up on antholes, and with the battens going across the spike pits here, having to be very careful not to jump into the hole. It's across. Oh yeah, Fishbowl is an expert in tanking, but he's at least doing a better job in, deciding when he should start tanking damage. So he's definitely trying his best here to, at least take home, bronze.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing where, you watch a video or whatever of a strat for a boss, and you try it, and it's not working out, especially if taking damage is involved. So you just figure out how you can do it your way. And Fishbowl has done this in a lot of different cases. And often those cases are, all right, let's not worry too much about dodging the shots. Let's just take the shots and figure out how to make the most of the invincibility frames afterwards. Bright Man fight from anthole. Shot him once with a lemon. Very important, because otherwise you will hit these HP values on Bright Man's health of 16, 8, and 4, and those will cause him to use his Bright Stopper. You don't want that. It wastes time, your health, and your health while he shoots you helplessly frozen. One lemon will skip over those values when you keep shooting him with the Charge Buster. Pretty clean fight for him. He's going to be moving on likely to Pharaoh Man. Yes, there it is. And his opponent once more into Needleman stage, low on health, and gotta be worried about that boss fight.
Well, where he has Gemini Laser, yeah, even though, again, he is coming to Needleman on low health, so he does have to be careful. So here we go. Anthole starting into Pharaoh Man stage here. Let's see if he gets the slide for the balloon. Accepted.
Well, we got into a laser that eventually does connect.
There we go.
Followed by 3 that find their target right away. That is a dead Needleman, and that is a big sigh of relief for Fishbowl.
Oh yeah. Your stream must be slightly faster, because I'm watching both of theirs directly, and somehow his fell behind a little bit for me.
Yeah, I paused it a little bit, and then hoped that was okay. I'll pause it a little bit more. I've got 111, 52, 53, 54.
Okay.
As this timer. So he's going to be going in to Snake Man, which I may be spoiled, but not much of a spoiler, as it's his last Robot Master left in Mega Man 3. And we got some Pharaoh going on for anthole. He's got the Bright Stopper, but you do not want to use it in this section because it freezes those moving platforms that you're stuck waiting for. He's into the boss fight. He's got a lot of health, and I'm pretty sure he knows what to do, so I anticipate no problems, but sometimes Pharaoh Man gets a little crazy even if you're right next to him, so we'll see what kind of pattern he gets.
Oh yeah.
Actually gets some favorable jumps there, and now some unfavorable jumps to follow. If you're right next to Pharaoh Man, he's more likely to do these charge shots, but sometimes it's the opposite of the situation he's in now. So he has the high ground and Pharaoh Man's down below. It makes it really easy to jump over those charge shots. It's possible for those to be flipped, and it makes it really hard to jump over those charge shots. And he was in that situation on the left side of the room, got some jumps to change up things, get the high ground, cleans up the fight, only taking 1 hit. Very solid.
Meanwhile, Fishbowl here coming up on the second half of Snake Man stage. So this is gonna be interesting. Fishbowl is 2 games behind, but he is opting to he's opting to use Hardman's unique abilities to take down the snake.
Just punching it right in the mouth, basically.
Yep. I thought that only works for sharks. If someone can punch a snake in the mouth and it makes it stop biting, that would be interesting.
I thought sharks was nose.
Nose,
but
mouth.
Maybe that's bears.
They're both in the same general direction. I mean, if you're gonna hit the nose, you're gonna hit the mouth too.
Yeah, there's not a lot of face on a shark. It's all kind of compressed into the same area.
There's nose, giant mouth, and then, well, night-night.
I think there was discussion of what to do with various bears in an earlier Mega Man race, and I think the conclusion was you can scare away a black bear by making yourself really big. You can play dead with a brown bear, but if that brown bear is a grizzly bear, you're probably just dead either way.
Yeah, you're dead either way. This is why I don't go out into nature too often. Or if I do go out, I at least know that my animals are not coming towards me.
I typically don't go out into nature because of the lack of Ethernet ports and my social anxiety. Okay, so we're moving on. A death in Ringman stage from Anthole, just before the checkpoint, by the way, so that is super costly for him. We're seeing if he's going to go back to balloons or he's going to pull a flash dropper. He is going to balloons, does miss the wall jump, and now the turrets are firing. Actually, you don't want to go for the wall jump there. It's not possible with the turret blocking the way, so those despawned balloons, he is trying to get them to spawn. There it is, past the turret. Taking some damage, though. Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite him, because you do not want to take unnecessary damage in Ringman stage. The route involves taking a lot of damage from the various mini-bosses to skip them, and he's taken so much damage that he's either going to need to find some health, or he's going to need to make some sacrifices and fight these mini-bosses. See what he's going to do for this first one. He's going to take damage and not skip it. This is definitely the worst-case scenario.
Oh, yeah.
Gets a health drop, though. Or was that... No, that was Fishbowl who grabbed the health.
Fishbowl here, interesting thought process. This was one of the stages that gave him real, literal hell last time. Ended up getting him really, really stuck towards the end of his run. So I am surprised he's actually going to do Drillman first. I mean, this is a very unorthodox method. Like, part of me worries for this strategy. But he has improved. He's doing better. He's actually on Mega Man 4 before the 2-hour mark, so he's doing good. I mean, he lost a little time in 3, but he's hoping to be out of 4 in an hour and 48 minutes. So he's got about a half hour, give or take, to basically make all this work and get past all of his sticking points that he had. And so far, he's doing a good job here in Drillman stage.
Yeah, dealing with all of these flying enemies, falling rocks, platforms that don't appear unless you hit the switch, which means altering your jump in a certain way. Like, look at these rocks. They're so hard to deal with. Taking some more damage. And some more damage. He's trying to look for the E-tank, I think. There it is. We got a very tense Ringman fight from Anthole. Clipped by the ring immediately on the way back.
You know, talk about a suffering blow. There you go. That is not something Anthole wanted. He was hoping to do the rest of this fight with some good love. Meanwhile, here comes Drillman for Fishbowl. So this is going to be a tight fight for Fishbowl. He's going Buster first against Drillman. Drillman's going to have to show him a lot of love, and he's going to have to play this fight really close to the vest, because he does not have an energy tank. So he's trying his best here. He has to be very careful, because again, you know, getting your Charge Buster up and getting shot does sort of knock it away from you a bit. So you can mess up your timing on that. Meanwhile, Anthole does get Ringman down the second time around. If Fishbowl can keep getting dive patterns that are, you know...
Yeah.
That'd honestly be his best bet here. If he could get some more dive patterns to get away from being shot by Drillman.
He actually wants the chill drill. Oh, he could have jumped over that. He had the time to react to that. Just didn't quite get it. He's got another try, though. But you're right, those dives are much safer than dealing with him running around throwing explosive drills at you. So his best bet here is to stay away from him rather than close, which helps him dodge projectiles and also helps manipulate those dive attacks, because I think he should probably be playing for survival right off the bat, given the difficulty of this fight.
He should really be focusing on the survival aspect of it. Unfortunately, he's not having good timing with these drills. He does have the opportunity to jump over them, but unfortunately, he is getting caught up on them.
Yeah, he's just kind of throwing jumps out there and hoping
Anthole.
They go over drills. Yeah, to death there in Just Man stage.
There we go.
The checkpoint.
Come on, show Fishbowl.
Whoa, this is close. Another drill.
I was going to say, show Fishbowl some love.
There's not a lot of time to react to those shots.
You have to be like, you know, the moment they are executed, you have to see them and you have to jump ASAP, or you're going to end up suffering. So unfortunately, this is Fishbowl's last life going into this one. Fishbowl really needs this to work. He really wants this to happen. Alright, there we go. Good start for Fishbowl. Gets one shot in, he goes back down, takes another shot in, goes back down again. This might be in favor for Fishbowl if he keeps on doing this. Comes back up, coming back down again. Fishbowl's definitely going to be winning the DPS race this time, if Drillman keeps doing this. Going back down again. This is actually favorable in Fishbowl's methods because he does not have an extra life. He's going back down again. I think he might have found some way to manipulate him.
Nope. I think he's probably just getting lucky.
There we go. Here comes
luck is
the
going
pain.
to carry him through the rest of this fight. No problem, I think.
There goes the dive.
Yeah,
all right.
He's got this.
Anthole, meanwhile, oh my goodness, Anthole.
In the Dust Crusher section. We saw him actually get stuck in a really bad spot. He used a lot of his Flash Stopper the first time around. There is the confirmed kill on Drillman. But Anthole, in Just Man stage, first time around, used his Flash Stopper. Oh, did not shoot the last block. The iframe's almost keeping him alive,
but he got
inside
stuck.
The block. But I think what happened was he got zipped inside the dust blocks while he had the iframes and could not drop out of the wall. So when the iframes were up, so was his life. That is going to be another death for him. Going back to what I was saying, low on Flash Stopper, had to make that rising block section work with just the Buster. Was really scary, but actually using the lag to his advantage to use a really well-timed turnaround damage boost. Block, unable to get that one last block out of his way that was preventing him from sliding to safety. Still has an extra life for another attempt.
Unfortunately, though, as you do mention, he does have an extra life, but this is his last life. Same for Fishbowl as he starts on, Toadman stage. Anthole here, he zipped a Metatool into the Dust Crusher. Anthole showing some great game-breaking maneuvers that normally don't appear. Fishbowl here is actually having a good start to Toadman section. Gets through the falling rain section pretty decently.
I thought he was going to go for it. Anthole moving really far forwards in the Dust Crusher section, but he does get back in time and he's cleared out almost all of these blocks, so no problem for him to keep going.
In chat now getting mad at Anthole. Anthole, why aren't you using rings? There he goes, now he's using rings, so there you go. Calm down, folks. No need for pitchforks and torches just yet.
I think it's more a desperate plea. Stop dying and get through the Crusher section. They just want him to succeed, I think, is where that is coming from. Buster actually safer on the Dust Crusher section. The ring has some limited range to it, and that means the strats involving it are really precise. You have to nail every shot you throw out with the ring, or you're screwed. Whereas with the Buster, you can kind of go nuts with it, and you'll probably end up okay. You do want Ringman for the boss fight, though. Trading hits, has plenty of health to deal with Just Man, and that's actually a very quick fight for him. Fighting the snails here. His Fishbowl does not have the Flash Stopper to freeze them and skip them. I don't know why he comes to Toadman stage this early. I think it's because he wants to go to... He wants to fight Brightman with Brightman's weakness, even though it's pretty slow. So this is the route he's come up with that works for him, and here we are in early Toadman's stage, done with some strats that you don't typically see. dealing with these fishes. Sliding into the Toadman boss fight. Despite having just almost executed a zip in the Dust Crusher section, we do not see a zip for Anthole early on in Skullman stage.
For the sake of explanation for folks, because there's people asking in chat, again, welcome if you're late. I am Sacred Hooves.
I am Mythical 9.
And we are
this
in Mega
is
Man
the 46 Mega Man robot. Matt almost got that in sync. That would have been incredible if we just said the exact same follow-up.
Sorry.
After that introduction.
We should have. I said something completely different, though.
Well, I said something completely like that goes both ways. Don't be so hard on yourself. Anyway, we got the Toadman fight.
That was a good fight, too.
It's over. Yep. Pretty simple. You just shoot the drills at him.
Yep.
No, he didn't have the drills. He had the buster, so you shoot the buster at him.
No, he did pull out the drills.
He did. Right, because he went drill first. What is this route? Okay.
Yeah, so he did go drill first.
Gave him the drills and gets him down. A simple boss fight. Just as long as you hit him, you're going to interrupt his attacks.
Oh no, Anthole, please don't do this. Literally, please do not do this. I know what you're thinking. Oh, no. Please do not use Rain Flush on Brightman. Please do not use Rain Flush on Brightman. For all that is holy, and for the sake of your fight, do not use Rain Flush.
I mean, I guess if you were to use a one buster shot, I think that would desync from all of the HP values. It's pretty slow.
It is slow, but it still works. But the thing is, you have to play a lot of keep away. Meanwhile, Anthole's getting pretty much bone blocked here by... Ooh!
A double
that was
KO.
His last life, and a double KO. Who gets the victory?
Wow.
Skullman gets the victory. So, unfortunately for Anthole... Ow! Ow! That has to hurt him. And unfortunately, he did not use the, go down to the continue button, so now he has to take the 5-second intro screen all over again.
Back to the start of Skullman stage. Again, no zip, just gonna buster some things until he's far enough in the stage to switch to Flash Stopper and get to the end that way. We'll see what his opponent does have in mind, after all.
Skullman is reboned.
Brightman. Yeah, totally boned.
I'm sorry.
We saw him go to Toadman. The only reason I can think to go to Toadman before Bright is to hit him with the Rain Flush. Ooh, missing the jump up to the next platform.
He does have an extra life. Whew.
You'd think that section would be really scary. The lights are going on and off. You're on these really awkward platforms, but the truth is the deaths there are pretty rare. Well, the Grasshopper's giving him some awkward patterns. They can either jump far or short. Ooh, slipping off of the Grasshopper. That is a death, and that is the game over. So trading game overs with his opponent at this point. Does select continue. Yeah. Late into Skullman's stage here is Anthole. He's got tons of health, so I really anticipate no problems.
Oh yeah, full weapon.
That looked like a death there that I missed.
Unfortunately,
early on in Brightman stage,
he sort of missed his jump, so Fishbowl actually accidentally going in the hole. Meanwhile, Anthole getting better RNG. Here comes the shield. It actually goes down quick enough and gets the hit in. Perfect.
Yeah, he had two shields there, but they were both incredibly short, so overall, still a decent fight.
I totally just misread chat.
On to the Grasshoppers once again. Hopefully he can deal with them. I was saying before that tragic death that they have a short hop and a long hop, and usually it doesn't matter too much. Sometimes, depending on what they do, you have to change your jumps and your plans a little bit. But sometimes they can kind of overlap in a weird way, and then you're not sure which one you're going to end up riding on at that point, and I think that kind of tripped him up a little bit.
Just the wiggle.
Diveman coming out from anthole. He is
Took a fish in the face there.
yeah, got slapped by the fin right across the cheek. So he's got the flash stopper out. These enemies all move around in annoying ways. The flash stopper can go a long way towards making Diveman stage much easier, but I think we saw him actually run out of flash stopper ammo in this stage before. So I think he's doing his best to conserve it to make sure he has it for the mini bosses. Getting an ammo drop though, that's going to help him out quite a bit.
Fishbowl here doing a little bit more careful job this time, making sure not to knock the lights out as he gets to this platforming section. Takes the initial hits, so that way he can guess he's gonna go for Rush Jet. The scary thing about Rush Jet on this one is you can fall off and you cannot control it. So, but he's still playing it safe using that Rush Jet there to get across that last section of Brightman stage. That's actually good planning, especially where he's feeling a little shaky at the moment.
Switching to Toadman's weapon.
So, yep, he's opting for full Rain Flush. Oh.
Yep, I really would have recommended one Buster Shot to open up the fight. Because now, see one Rain Flush.
There it is.
There's the first stop. Takes a hit. He's takes another hit that he didn't have to, so this is bad. This is bad. Yeah.
Boom.
Wow. Could have finished that in a number of ways, but he went for the off the top rope body slam. And now he's got no more Rain Flush, so he needs to make it work with the Buster. That is a death down there from anthole. And Diveman stage. Was pretty far along in that stage. Costly death.
Yes, very costly, considering he was right at the door. But as you're mentioning, Fishbowl came off the top rope and literally slammed on top of Fishbowl, like Brock Lesnar taking the Big Show straight to the map and breaking the arena in half. So he's doing a little bit better job this time using the Buster to fight because he doesn't have the problems coming in. So literally taking shots from downtown, switches last second for the flush out.
That is a dead Brightman. He's going to be moving on now that he's got the flash stopper. I assume he's going to be going to Pharaoh. We saw him use that on Pharaoh Man. Another case where it is the Robot Master's weakness, but it is also quite a bit slower than other alternatives. As we got a Diveman fight. A little low on health, so he's probably going to be playing it pretty safe. Yeah, using some really high jumps to make sure he gives himself enough time to line up the spacing to hit Diveman on the way down without trading hits. Has a very clean fight, doesn't take a hit, gets him down. He's going to be moving on to Drillman next. Hopefully doesn't have as many problems with that as his opponent did.
They actually favor Fishbowl if he did have some issues, but at least Fishbowl is trying his best to stay on pace. He has 3 Robot Masters down. Again, he has about, give or take with his splits, 15 minutes to finish this game if he wants to stay on PB pace / good pace. But, a number of things can happen, especially within the last, the later half of the 46 Robot Master tournament here, when you're coming up on the 4 through 6 sections. This is where the more technical stages come into play, and this is where a lot of mistakes can easily be made, because there's just level design that's out to get you, and you have to be precise. If you're not precise, you end up either going backwards into a pit, or into a thing of spikes, or, hit your last hit. Things can just go wrong so quick, and it's definitely not fun. So anthole here, as you can see, is making good use of the Bright Stopper. He's using it to stop the enemies in his path to get through this section of Drillman. Now using it on the Patantons to get him out of the way. Meanwhile, interesting choice, Fishbowl tried to flush the mummies. Unfortunately, it did nothing but make him angry. Let's be careful here. He is on his last life, if we're not mistaken. There's the pickup. Helps him out a bit, so we're definitely going to see him use Brightman's weapon on Pharaohman to have a safe fight. It's going to drag out, but it's going to be a safe fight. Anthole here caught himself a bit of a situation using the Bright Star at the wrong time. Had 3 P's on the screen. He could not jump around them. So here we go with this last section here. He's not opting to use the rest of his energy. Meanwhile, Fishbowl goes into the room and literally is firing away here at a freaking Pharaohman. He is doing the best he can. He is tapping the button as fast as possible. He is mashing for his life here. He is doing the best he can to get him down as soon as possible. Oof. Does unfortunately let Pharaohman out of the corner. So he has to be careful here. He's trying to conserve his life and his energy on this weapon. Gets back to a comfortable position and gets the job done. Meanwhile, Anthole is now coming into Drillman's room. Let's see what type of situation he can come up with to see if he can get past his opponent's problems. Here we go. Here comes Dive Drillman. Emerges himself. Here we go. Anthole dancing around the room. Comes up. Going back down. Comes up again. Gets a couple shots in. Gets a third shot in. Has to be careful. He's taking a little bit too much damage. He takes a couple more hits. It's almost over. He has 1 hit left to take. Dive Man going back into the ground. Meanwhile, Fishbowl is onto Ringman stage. Dive Man literally got danced by the missile and just not happening. Drillman comes back up, takes another hit, and goes for another dive. Oof. Gets the magic
vodka
bullet.
missile, though. It almost did like a figure 8 perfectly around Drillman. Very frustrating to see that, I'm sure, especially when he's so low on health.
Unfortunate, first thoughts in your minds are probably going, what?
He's got the drill bomb. That is Toadman's weakness, his last robot master to do for Mega Man 4. He's going to be heading there next. His opponent is trying to figure out the Rainbow Bridge section with the Buster. Balloon that he skipped in Pharaohman stage and the Flash Topper that he has are both very good options for that climb, but he's going to Buster it.
Fishbowl here is, this is the stage that really ate up a chunk of his time last time. I unfortunately did not get to see the rest of his run, but for the broadcast that we did, this is the stage he literally spent almost a half hour trying to do. So we're really hoping for some good love here for Fishbowl, because he really wants to get past this and set himself a good pace. He definitely wants to feel accomplished, and he definitely wants to try to finish as close as possible to Anthole to see if he can actually, get a good time in. They might be completing for third place, but he definitely wants to compete as hard as he can. Anthole here, interesting strategy. He's using the Bright Stopper here to avoid the jellyfish from coming down while the Robo-Mousers are on the ground. It actually helps him out. Anthole uses the Bright Stopper in order to get past the first frog. Fishbowl gets an energy refill from Eddie as he heads into the next section with the giant hippo. Oh, he passed it. Okay, so he did go just visit Eddie. Alright, cool. The Fishbowl here, this is the section Fishbowl had a lot of trouble with. So, smart move here. He's opting for Rush Jet's not gonna save him. In the hole he goes.
So the trick to these coils is that you actually need to be brave. If you want to slide out onto them from the block, and the combined speed plus the delay with which they start opening lets you clear them a lot more easily than anything else. I mean, I guess riding Rush Jet is also pretty safe, but we saw that has its own challenges to come up with. And he looks really uncomfortable doing anything with the slide on this section. He's got the Rush Jet out, actually needs to dip down to shoot the enemy rather than try to go over him. You could be jumping off the top of the screen, I think, to avoid some lag. Very unfamiliar with Rush Jet strats in Mega Man 4. You don't see them very often. But making Rush Jet work for him, he's through that section, and he's full on health. Mega Man 4 is complete for Antle. He's moving on to Mega Man 5. Starting with Starman stage, very traditional route. Don't think I've seen anyone deviate from this. We're here to pick up the super arrow, and we're going to use it to go really fast through all of the other stages. Isn't really a single stage that doesn't benefit from the super arrow in some capacity.
The super arrow is literally the best friend of Mega Man 5. As you can see here, Fishbowl starting off Ringman's fight. He does not have an extra life in the tank, but he did use an E-tank, I believe, where he managed to come in here with full life, so it helps him out. And he gets the kill.
Yeah, that was absolutely no problem for him. Very clean, recharging his shots after he fired them. Some players get caught with that. They end up not charging a shot, thinking they are, and then they realize they aren't, and things get a little out of hand. But he kept up the fair shots very consistently throughout that fight. That helped him get him down really quick. Even though he didn't go for any of those double shots, those are pretty risky, hitting an enemy, especially a Robot Master with the Pharaoh shot while it's charging above your head. Lets you also then shoot that fully charged shot afterwards. You can kind of make it count for double, which is a little faster, but obviously means you need to get right next to a Robot Master like Ringman. Very scary. So opted to just do the charge shots, and it worked out well for him up until this pit that he's fallen into early on in Dustman stage. Going to take this game over. At least he's got his lives back. He's going to be able to continue forward. Maybe that was intentional, not sure. He is hesitating here quite a bit. Flash Stopper does a lot for this section. But he's not going to pull it out. Got a Starman fight from Anthole, using the Charged Buster, and also making sure that he gets close enough to get his shots in through Starman's shield. Does a pretty good job dodging that one shield on the side of the screen. Finally does end up taking a hit, but gets him down.
Important thing is, he got him down.
We got this rising block section at Dustman stage. We saw Anthole have to do this without Flash Stopper because he had no ammo. Whereas we're seeing Fishbowl just choosing to do it this way and having his own share of troubles in that room. Eddie, what do you got for us? Because we could use some love. Hey!
Eddie's showing the love this time. Let's see if Fishbowl can make up for what Anthole had trouble with here as he comes into the Dust Crusher section. Again, opting to go Buster in this section, you know. Ooh! Interesting save there for Fishbowl. He got clipped into the block last second by the Met, but does manage to pull it out anyway. He manages to get that last shot in, too, to get a slide under. Nice! Fishbowl trying to pull out all the stops here.
Playing it safe there, clearing away back. Very smart. Although he's going to charge forward with the ring.
That was close.
Yeah, it's never a good sign to go forward when the blocks are on their way down like that. You do have a chance if your ring is already out on the return trip. It can clear the blocks just ahead of you. That is the strat for getting through there as fast as possible. But just trying to do it on the fly without the very practiced setup for it. Very tricky. So smart move to go back and save himself through the Dust Crusher section. And I think he's going to be okay.
He'll definitely be fine as long as he plays careful. So Anthole, as you can see here, he used the super arrow on the last screen to get across the room of Gravity Man here. Gets a 1-up that he accidentally dropped and it comes back to him. Nice job. Gives him a little extra buffer room. As he goes through the reversing gravity rooms here. This is probably one of the more annoying sections to Gravity Man stage because you're not prepared and used to it. And right there, as you can see, one of the bigger problems with it is, hello, you have a thing of spikes that you could drop into. Meanwhile, Fishbowl cleans up Dustman, no time at all.
Vacuums him right up. Actually, Dustman, the one with the vacuum, kind of got that backwards a little bit. He's more like an anti-Dustman, if anything. He's associated with dust, I suppose. That's good enough for Robot Master. naming conventions. He did have a bit of a scary situation. He went in with a lot of health, but he ended up losing quite a bit of it, so that was kind of a clutch finish for him. And then we got a finish on Gravity Man. A couple missed shots with the Star Crash. Gravity Man is very predictable. Not really worried about RNG at all. It's kind of hard to clip him with the Star Crash when he does that jump across the top of the screen. I'm guessing that's probably the one shot that Anthole missed. But able to get him down without having to switch to the Buster or anything, so pretty solid.
Surprisingly enough, though, we're coming up on an hour and 45 in, and we have one person that made it to 5, one person that's almost to 5, so this race is pretty much still going either way. So, as we saw there, Gravity being sucked into oblivion by the Star Crush by Anthole moves on to Gyro Man stage.
See him waiting for these turret enemies. They're pretty annoying. And now we've got the super air out, but placement a little off there. Does make it work.
Does, but very scarily almost got knocked back into a hole, so he has to be a little bit more careful here, Mythical. Anthole's not exactly, you know, pricing these shots a little good.
Yep, he's got some ammo for the super arrow. We're going to see what he's going to do with it.
Fishbowl here, I'm surprised he's not pulling out Bright Stopper to take off this section. It would have been the easier substitute, because again, trying to get through the section as quick as possible, you don't want the worms and the turrets to get you.
Yeah, he's shown a hesitancy to use the Flash Stopper. We're trying to go back for some kind of pickup.
You can't make that jump, man. You have to use the... You cannot physically make that jump on your own. You have to use, you know, the balloon, or you have to use, you know, Rush Jet to get in there. But I can see he wants that energy tank. He's gonna probably... Yeah. Let's see if he tries again, though.
Well, now that he's in a better health situation, maybe he'll skip it. Yeah, just gonna press on. It's good for him.
Anthole here, good thoughts. Coming up through the falling block section, pulls out Super Her and says, "You know what? Not today," and goes sailing over them. That's actually probably the smartest move I've seen all tournament for that stage. Everyone else just keeps running through it. He's like the first person I've personally seen to use Super Arrow due to that.
Gets the 1-up drop, Mega Man 5 reference for him. Always nice to have those in your back pocket.
Well, considering 5 drops them like candy.
Dealing with the candy dispenser in front of the boss door. Sliding into the Gyro Man stage. Weakness is Gravity Hold. It's a full screen attack, but you only have as much ammunition as he has health. So you can see they tick down evenly. So if you're too early on your attack and he's still in iframes, you lose the ammo and don't deal the damage. And considering his health situation, that could have been pretty annoying for him.
But,
so yeah, he
lifted
I think he measured his shots a little slowly there to make sure he absolutely did not miss. Gets Gyro Man down, gonna be moving on, probably to Crystal Man. I think he's familiar with the warp. We'll see in a moment. We're getting the final Robot Master for Fishbowl. It's gonna be Dive Man. His route is taking him here last.
Indeed. After just putting Skullman to rest in peace, he now has to dive into the ocean and sink the submarine. Once he does that, he'll definitely be on 5, though, and if he can do it fast enough with Anthole having some trouble, probably, he'll be able to catch up to Anthole in 5. As you can see here, Anthole is setting up for the crystal skip. A very technical skip to do here. You literally need to be on your last point of health. That's what he's trying to do with the ball and cup enemy here. He's trying to get down to the last possible hit possible. Then as you can see here, he's going to set up the super arrow and flies right... Oh no, he's not going to get it.
Yeah, he needs to be standing on each super arrow when he places the next one. And he has a tendency to slip off of that second arrow. And when he does, he just kind of throws out that third one and hopes it's in the right spot. And it's possible that it is. That time it was not. It was a little too low, I believe. Gets a refill, so he's going to be able to try again here.
Yeah, he'll have the reattempt, but the whole point is you want to sit there and get it so that the last hit you take is the first ball and cup, and the second one's just coming on screen. so that there's not a third ball and cup, you know, the second ball and cup doesn't show up. And again, too shy. Is he going to opt for the down, or is he gonna... Yep, he's gonna tank the stage. So we're actually gonna see a full Crystal Man stage in this run.
Good luck to him getting an extra life. He's got 5 extra lives.
Pulls out Star Crash here as he hops across the pits with the diamonds coming down. That's very useful because each hit takes off a diamond, and he gets a hit apiece, so that works. And here's Eddie going here.
Ammo drop from Eddie. Refills the super arrow. I guess if he dies before the checkpoint, or I don't know. It's still just useful to have. I don't know if he knows his way through this stage well enough to be comfortable just getting on a super arrow at some point, and maybe getting himself into trouble.
Yeah, we're more than likely going to see 2 crystal stages put together. Just because I know for a fact, from what I've been told, Fishbowl is not practicing the skips, so...
Oh, look at that, making use of the way the super arrow will stick into the wall to extend that platform, give himself an easier jump. I like the improvisation there.
Meanwhile, Fishbowl has not pulled out the skull barrier, is opting to go mano-a-mano with Dive Man here. Not a smart choice. Last I checked, he does not have the... Well, he does have extra lives. Okay, there he goes. Now he's searching for it and gets it. Ooh, unfortunately though, he does take the down because he directly touched him. Unfortunately for Fishbowl, that sends him back outside the gate, giving Anthole enough time to get through the stage and pull ahead a little bit here.
I can only guess that he overestimated the amount of damage the skull barrier would do. Thought it was going to be the final hit. Thankfully, the Charge Buster destroys the projectiles he shoots out.
Oh yeah. That's a good thing about, you know, the Charge Buster, is you can take out the dive missiles, but you don't want to leave them on screen for too long, because you want more to come back out, so that way you can charge up another round of Charge Busters and throw them into Dive Man if you're going to buster him like that. And bam! Fishbowl gets it done. So this is some not good news for Anthole, because here comes Fishbowl. He's coming out of the gate here. He's trying the best he can to catch up. He really wants to make this work.
Well, he's got a couple stages advantage as he moves into the Crystal Man fight, and he's low on health, so dodging all of these bouncing crystals is top priority.
Yeah, he has to dodge Crystal Man. He cannot take a direct hit here because, bam, gets it done. A direct hit would have caused him a knockout on himself, so he would have to go back outside. He would have had enough weapon energy, but just, you don't want to take as many downs as you can help. Like, the last thing you want to do is have to sit there and wait through the ready screen more times than necessary.
Playing Starman stage a little safe, shooting these turrets from the other side of this obstacle in his way, shooting each and every single one of these enemies, and not sliding very much at all.
No, he's not, but again, he's trying to play safe and close to the vest. I can't blame him. Fishbowl is definitely trying to finish with a strong personal time here.
You can see him hesitating on that jump. Almost gives himself a haircut, and then eventually finds himself in need of a new pair of shoes, falling into the spikes. Just hit the checkpoint though, so pretty good death as far as deaths go. Not going to help his confidence in this tricky situation, though. He's through this set of spikes. This Anthole is into Napalm Man's stage. Into this waterfall section. He's going to be playing it safe, manipulating these enemies off the ledge, rather than trying to shoot them or damage boost through them.
I gotta say, and it's coming through clearly in chat, a lot of people are impressed by Fishbowl's performance. Like, he's doing a lot better than last time.
It's also just fun to see the strats that he's come up with. They are unique.
He has definitely been the most... Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna say that I was gonna take away from it a little bit by saying they're definitely not the fastest, but they are fun to watch.
They're definitely not fast, but they're definitely entertaining, and they're definitely unique. I don't think I've seen any other player, go the type of routes he's done and done the things he's doing. So, see anthole making good use of gravity hold, trying to get those missiles out of there. Overestimated his jump, trying to avoid the missile, and went in the hole.
He gets sent back a little bit here. He was fairly close to the boss star, so this sucks. Having to deal with this big guy.
Meanwhile,
almost caught up to where he was.
Starman.
Yeah, Starman, he's doing okay.
Hmm.
Seems to familiar with how to dodge the star shield. I'd like to see him stick a little closer to manipulate Starman to attack rather than jump around.
This is true. And oh no, anthole, another theft to that spike. It is now spikes 2, anthole 0. As Fishbowl now gets Starman down. This is not good news for anthole if he wants to secure a bronze. He's gonna have to get through these stages a little bit quicker without dying, because here comes Fishbowl with a possible dark horse behind the back victory.
That would be pretty incredible. There's about a 30-minute gap between these players' personal bests. That would be quite an upset. They're definitely not 30 minutes apart right now.
Oh, no,
Just a couple robot masters between them.
This time, he makes it. Oh, and I've been corrected. Apparently, he died to the missile last time, anthole. Has to be very careful. He is out of Bright Stopper. Has to get across these incoming torpedoes and, the ball throwers. He has to be very careful. Fishbowl, meanwhile, has entered into Gravity Man stage. Did want to try to get that extra one up. Did not get it, but he did get one to drop already, so it's not too bad for him.
You can always count on Mega Man 5 to give you an extra life or two along the way. So he's out of ammunition, actually managing to hit him with the rebound there. That was pretty good.
Gets two.
He hits him with that weapon. That's going to help him out. So he has to buster the rest of this fight. He gets cornered there.
Taking too much damage. He does have an energy tank, but he cannot afford to keep taking face shots.
Napalm Man with the jump over the charged buster.
anthole is getting some bad love from an Napalm Man here, but does get the job done.
Full health at the end, of course. Didn't end up needing the E-Tank. But then again, you could argue the E-Tank gave him the confidence he needed to not get hit for the rest of the fight. Who can say? I think the E-Tank probably a smart choice in that situation.
Well, when you're definitely trying to secure a lead, even though you have a bunch of lives, not taking it down is definitely something you needed. Because, again, he was out of the weakness weapon, so that did add up to the difficulty of, trying to, stay ahead. So by making sure you use the E-Tank and getting him down, that gave him a little bit of secure boost.
Chat's been working hard on puns for all of the... I want to applaud them.
Chat always tries.
I'm a fan of puns. I use them loosely within commentary, but I do want to point out that Napalm Man was anything but an eternal flame. So we got Stone Man going on for anthole now that he's got Napalm weapon. Stone Man stage kind of boring. So let's talk about how Gravity Man has been defeated for Fishbowl. Still had one extra shot, so I think he missed one of his star crashes on that fight. But as long as you don't have to use your buster, you're generally going to be pretty okay. Anthole playing it really safe on Stone Man stage, shooting each Met and all of the little Mets that come out of them. And making good use of the charged buster. on lots of enemies. Occurring a lot of lag in this situation.
Alright, we're coming up on the 2-hour mark. Both players are now officially in 5. Anthole's on the back half of the courses. Meanwhile, Fishbowl here, still trying to play a very strong game, is coming up on the first half of it, is on Gyro Man stage. Trying to play this very carefully, because he's still doing a very good job overall.
Gonna slide in for an extra life real quick. Really not a lot of time to grab that thing. Eddie says
Thanks,
extra
Eddie.
life for Anthole, who is sitting on top of, I believe, at least 5 at this point. 4, rather.
Yeah, he lost one to Napalm. Yeah, he lost quite several to Napalm's area, and then he got a couple back as a apology. What can be considered an apology, I guess. So Fishbowl, here we go.
He's got the super arrow for this bridge section.
Go surfing. Meanwhile, Snowman has just gotten blown to pieces by Anthole and Napalm bombs.
Yeah, it's a really simple fight. He just kind of jumps around a little bit. You just need to concern yourself with optimizing, keeping him in iframes. That's a death for Fishbowl in the auto-scroller section in Gyro Man stage, and he is out of super arrow at this point, so he's gonna have to do this bridge section the old-fashioned way.
And try not to fall in. But the unfortunate thing is you've got the, spike helicopter enemies coming at you, and it's just, like, totally destroying things. I would call out what name they are, but unfortunately the site that I was using for that sort of just decided to dart, so...
I'm sure everyone was really looking forward to learning all the enemy names.
So we have a message from Anthole, Chicken Room dedicated to retro gaming live TV, and all the Kraken I'm gonna drink because of Mega Man 1.
Oh boy.
Somebody's not happy about their run.
Well, he's done a good job of rallying from that situation. He's in charge main stage. He is having a bit of trouble here with getting the super arrows placed high enough to avoid all these enemies. Soon enough, we'll see him into that chicken room. If only the NES was capable of such high fidelity chicken noises.
Yeah, unfortunately it's not, so the folks at home...
Gyro Man is down for Fishbowl.
Oh yeah.
He's going to be moving on probably to Crystal, and we're probably not going to see a warp from him, but I mean, he's clearly been practicing since his last race. Who knows what
Maybe
he's got in store for us.
That would definitely be an upset on Anthole's part if he pulls it off, just because. That would give him the chance to catch up, because that would put him at the end of the stage where Fishbowl needs the advantage. The 40 seconds of, waste time that, it takes versus the, like, what? A minute or two that it took Anthole to go through the stage? But it looks like Fishbowl is going to do the run, so here we go.
Anthole's been having some creative weapon switches. Got a weapon drop, said, oh, this is a good opportunity to refill my super arrow. And then he threw the super arrows point blank into some enemies and ran out of them. So he would have probably been better served just sticking to Crystal Eye. And instead of going back to Crystal Eye, he switched to Gyro Man's weapon. Now he's back to the Buster before the boss door. And now probably to Power Stone for the boss fight.
Throws a celebratory Power Stone.
Missing that initial jump over.
And I think he missed the first shot too, because he got him when he was charging, so... Oof.
He's low on health, so this is bad.
Yes, indeed. I don't think he has... Nope, he does not have anything to tank. Anthole's gotta be careful here. Charge Man is right on his tail, making sure to get him cornered. Doing the best he can here. He's getting into a tight situation.
The Chargeman slips in between the Power Stones.
He almost got railroad.
Yeah, one pause too many at the end there. Probably very nervous whether or not it was even going to hit. The pauses are removing the Power Stones from the screen so that you can shoot another one. Because that's just how Power Stone rolls. Chargeman gets rolled over, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Going to be moving on to Waveman stage, the last Robot Master of Mega Man 5. His opponent is struggling, dodging these spikes in Crystal Man stage. He's definitely more familiar with Crystal Man stage than Anthole was.
Oh yeah,
looking
definitely.
Pretty good. Moves through it.
He's definitely showing he does have what it takes to try to be here and actually participate and show off his skills. He's doing a very excellent job.
Choosing to fight Crystal Man from pretty far away, relying on Gyro's weapon to go up and hit him.
Not
it can be a little unreliable. Well, he's refusing to move from that spot, just keeps firing shots. It works out for him.
It worked out for him. It wasn't a bad strategy. It gives him enough buffer room, but the whole thing is, again, you want to try to finish in the middle of the room so you don't have to go through the walk cycle. Meanwhile, Anthole trying to ride the wave out here, doing the bubble room. Let's see what he makes of this next section, if he goes for boat skip or not.
Only shooting 2 arrows, so I doubt it.
Yep, here comes the walk cycle, and hops on board. Meanwhile, Fishbowl here, after breaking Crystal Man in half, is on his way to put out the fires in Napalm Man stage. Pulls all the way back and pulls out Rush Jet. Wants to avoid the Tigers.
Yeah, it gives him enough space to get the vertical height he needs. Look at them just sitting pretty.
Well, that's one way not to play with the kitties.
Unfortunately, there is no Yarn Man that these cats are weak to. Oh, look at this, just camping him out with the Gyro Man's weapon. He does not want to go anywhere near these tigers.
He's trying to play as safe as he possibly can, and I cannot blame him. Let's see here, coming into the drill section, though. Oh, hey, Gyro Man's weapon takes it out in one shot.
Didn't know that.
Now we know. I thought it was just a star barrier. Yep, and he waits for that last drill just in case.
Has a bit of trouble with it there.
He could have made it, but smart choice.
Yeah, he probably could have made it if he was sliding more, to be sure. And then Gyro also working well for him in this waterfall section.
And we just heard the worst pun in the universe pop up in chat. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if I can exactly repeat that on stream.
No, that's that's too awful.
Yeah.
This is Speedruns Live. This is not speed gaming, so I can't speak for them, and I'd be very uncomfortable repeating such filth on stream. So we're gonna let that pass. We got a Waveman fight here with the charge kick, doing his best to sail through him to get on the other side of his hitbox.
Oof! Anthole got drowned.
Washed away.
Anthole trying to ride the wave here. Definitely got drowned and washed out to sea. Incoming rogue missile for Fishbowl here.
What? Has the iframes to survive the spikes and to jump through the oncoming missile. He's going to be relying on that E-Tank.
This time, Anthole managing to get the surfs up on Waveman, and brought Waveman crashing down to the shoal with no remorse.
That is the end of Mega Man 5 for him. One more left, moving on to Mega Man 6. Going to be starting with Windman. This is a very classic starting point in this game. Some people go with Flame, and I think it's Infinite Mystery who has a really oddball starting spot in this game that I can't quite remember. Maybe that's a different game. Anyway, Windman, very standard choice. We'll talk about that a little bit as we Instead, switch focus over to the Napalm Man fight.
Doing a
from
good job
Anthole.
here, he is. Fishbowl.
Yep.
There we go. Boom. Got it done.
Much better fight than Anthole had.
Oh, yeah. Definitely conserved his energy, placed his shots well, and got the stuff done the way he needed to. So let's talk a little bit real quick about Windman while we have the downtime going into Stoneman for Fishbowl. You got a lot of hazards coming in here. You have the spines that are sitting here that are pretty much camping the edges. You have the wind turbines that literally blow you around up and down, and you can accidentally send yourself sailing into the ceiling. You have these reversible platforms that you have to jump on, and they're pretty difficult if you accidentally hit the slide in the middle of trying to make your jumps. And yeah, it's just, this stage can be quite unfriendly, especially towards the last part of it, because you have this one section where you have a spike ceiling, and these pandas will sit there and camp you, and literally it's just a camping panda, and you have to time it out just perfect to get across them. So that's all the hazards that really come in tow of Windman stage, but hopefully Anthole can get through it and turn off the fan on Windman.
That'd be nice. If the Robot Masters had a power switch that you could just click, and then teleport out. There's just a hunk of metal left in the middle of the room.
Yeah, we have another inappropriate comment coming up in the chat for puns to how to decipher how Robot Masters end. On that note, I'd just like to say in lieu of it, I don't think robots are capable of said function unless you program them. Which would be kind of silly if you did that. Oh hey, here you go, Fishbowl.
Last panda. And sliding into the Windman fight. He's got a decent health situation. It can be pretty hard to avoid getting hit by Windman's projectiles. So he's going all the way to the edge of the screen to give himself enough time to react to that. He's going to have no problems closing out this fight. One last shot.
Boom.
I think that Fishbowl has some gravity hold he could be using on these enemies as he approaches the end of Stoneman stage.
He definitely does have a lot of stuff in the tank that he could use to get past this section, but unfortunately, he's not the type to opt for Robot Master weapons in the middle of a stage. So as you can see here, Windman getting blown away and his power switch turned off for Anthole as he dives into Flame Man, so he hopes to put out the fire.
Windman's weapon is the weakness of Flame Man, and that's good because we want to get Flame Man's weapon as soon as we can. It's really powerful, helps out a lot in the other stages of the game. And it just turns out that Windman stage is typically best done with the Buster anyway, so that's why we usually see the Windman start in Mega Man 6. We'll see if this turret decides to fire. It does not. It is random whether or not that turret on the left wall will get a shot off before you can kill it. That can be pretty annoying. A lot of players like doing Flame Man first because they could deal with that turret RNG and just reset if it doesn't go their way, even though it's a pretty small time loss. Platform going the wrong way on this flaming oil field, making it work for him there second time around.
Meanwhile, Fishbowl getting into Stoneman's fight. You know, starts off by getting Power Stoned in the face while Stoneman jumps around the room. Stoneman keeps making some very high jumps, not allowing Fishbowl enough chances to get napalms in. Yeesh. Stoneman definitely not giving him any love. Asked to switch to the Buster because he started shooting too soon. Meanwhile, Anthole coming up with the last part of Flame Man stage. Meanwhile, Fishbowl smashing the opponent in half out of Stoneman. Anthole here having a little bit of trouble in the last section of Flame Man stage. Needs to be very careful here.
These fire guys will attack randomly, and they attack based off of Mega Man's position. So
they can snipe you, they can set you on fire, they can do many things that are not pleasant.
Yeah, very unpredictable and hard to deal with. So he takes a couple hits there, but overall, he's looking pretty good as he slides into the boss chamber. And with Flame Man's weakness, I don't think he's going to have any problems getting this kill. But we'll see. Flame Man can jump around, and that can cause you to miss your shots, and things can go bad from there.
Also, Flame Man here, trading blow for blow with Anthole, not being too careful, but he does manage to douse the flames.
Fishbowl is moving on to Charge Man stage. Not gonna bust out the super arrow to try to get over all of these train Mets, Charge Mets, Choo-Choo Mets.
Yeah, the Choo-Choo Mets and the Tellies, they're definitely adding up.
Charge Buster does a pretty good job here, though.
Race Jet, things worth not repeating.
At least Fishbowl showing some, it's being kind of comfortable with taking a moment to respond to things in race chat. We've seen him before get kind of flustered when we had some problems with the internet and stuff, and we had to keep communicating with the players. He found that very distracting, and I'm glad to see that not only is he playing much better, but he's also seems
Really
to be
focused.
having a better temperament here as well.
I think he finally got, over his jet lag from TwitchCon and is finally back in, his proper zone. So this is what's really helping him out here. Anthole here has to be a little bit more careful. He's taking way too much damage here in Blizzard Man stage, trying to get through the flying shields and the little, curling balls. I ran out of things to say there. Blizzard Man stage, definitely the most technical stage in the game, where it's got all the sliding ice physics and you're trying to be careful. And it's got instant death traps, like here's one of them, because you have all the ice you have to try to be careful while you're working around. And then you get the submarine section that goes up and down, so you have the spikes above you, and then you've got spikes below you too, that if you're in the right spot on the submarine, you're going to get crushed, or you're going to need a leg amputation. Meanwhile,
Yeah, he's playing
Fishbowl
it
here.
pretty safe here. It's possible to slide along and time your flame shots just right so that you can slip through there and make an extra cycle. But with all those hesitations, I'm pretty sure he missed 2 or 3 cycles on that submarine. Power Stone being put to work here against Charge Man actually avoids having to pause there on that second to last hit. Oh good, I was wondering where that paste bin was. There it is. Charge Man down, and looking like we're gonna get a Blizzard KO as well. He is rather low to dodge some of the stuff Blizzard Man can throw at you, so we're hoping for some good patterns. We start the fight by getting hit by a snowflake. Do not want to get hit by that charge. Ooh, gets tagged by it. Now he's in a corner, pretty much undodgeable snowflakes.
Yeah, Anthole got snowed in. He totally got snowed in there.
Second time around, I'm sure he's going to be okay. Well, he actually is pretty low on flame ammo, so he's going to have to get a little
he's gonna have to
creative in this fight.
Anthole, here we go again. He's running on flame weapons. Blizzard Man is snowballing into him, giving a little bit of trouble. He's gonna have to switch to the Buster for the rest of this fight. Thankfully, he's got him picked into a corner, but he keeps on snowballing, so that gives, Blizzard Man a lot of iframes, so a lot of chances to not, get, any shots in. He's gonna have to pick and choose his timings here. Keeps on rolling, but thankfully, Anthole takes that snowball and throws it down the hill, with Blizzard Man inside.
Not using the super arrow there in Dive Man section.
We've noticed that a lot from Fishbowl.
Yeah, there's just certain things that I'm getting the impression that he's kind of routed a lot of the games himself, and hasn't really been spending too much time looking at tutorials and routes from other people and things. So I think there's a lot of things that he just kind of has figured out how to do for himself, and that's just what he's going to stick with for now.
Just an alternate thought that came in my head. If he actually finished, Anhole have actually finished Blizzard Man with the flame weapon, he finally melted Frosty the Snowman.
Finally.
Yeah.
Have you been planning against Frosty for a while now?
I wasn't originally planning against Frosty Snowman, but you know what? It just kind of popped in my head. Because everyone in chat's like, someone's standing by the decision that Blizzard Man got put on ice. It's like, he's already on ice, so that kind of doesn't work too well.
Yeah, if he was being killed with ice, that probably works better. There's an art to puns, really.
Yeah, you gotta find the flavor.
Because they're gonna be bad, and then if you get a really good one, it goes from bad to like maybe not bad.
It goes to tasteable.
All those same, you need to do your best with a pun. Try to get out of that groan zone. So we got a Waveman fight coming up from Fishbowl. He's in his element here. He's just waiting. Runs right into that harpoon.
And takes a direct tanking face shot from Waveman himself. Thankfully, he will have another chance to do this. Meanwhile, Anthole is in the worst room in the game for Mega Man 6.
Yeah, this is Plant Man stage. He's going to opt to switch to the Buster and open up these platforms. You have a very small window and saved there by the platform after getting tagged by that fish.
Thankfully, he wasn't completely on the platform when it happened. Otherwise, he would have fell straight through. He was thankfully thrown onto it. And Fishbowl manages to ride the wave, get back into his bowl safe and sound, and charges cleanly out of Waveman. So this is actually pretty good pace. I mean, he's actually doing pretty good.
Well, as of Mega Man 2, he was like minutes ahead, and then things went a little astray in Mega Man 3 and 4. And there, he picked up a solid minute with a gold split, but he's still 2 minutes behind his PB. So I think there's a ton of time for him to save in Mega Man 6, but he's gonna have to hurry.
Alright, here comes Anthole and Plant Man. Here comes the more annoying / semi-technical fight. Fishbowl taking it down, diving into the fire there by mistake. Anthole having a good job here. Unfortunately, he's overcompensating, trying to sneak in extra shots. But he does dig Plant Man up and put him on ice. What he's going to do later with him, I have no idea.
Yeah, he's fit for transplanting, for sure.
Exactly.
I don't know why you'd want an evil plant. Maybe you could put it in your front lawn as self-defense, I don't know. Using Blizzard Man's weapon to fight Plant Man is pretty tricky. It travels really slow and it appears behind you. So you saw him getting right up next to him and turning around and hitting him right as the weapon spawns behind you. It's pretty tricky to make that work, especially since Plant Man is got that plant barrier around him that sort of extends his hitbox out a little bit. So that was a pretty solid fight, making good use of the Blizzard Man weapon from close range.
Here we go with Fishbowl making his way across with the fire tellies. Gets across decently, does set a couple things on fire, so that's going to be a little problematic for him coming up. Meanwhile, Anthole is now making his way down past the Desperados into Tomahawk Man stage, and is coming up onto the Met Dispenser.
Worth noting, he has started with Flame Man, does not have Wind Man's weapon, so his boss fight against Flame Man is going to be much more difficult. The Buster does not go through the flame pillars he summons like Wind Man's weapon, so both health and I was going to say ammo, but there's a total lack of ammo, so health is going to be a big concern moving in to the boss fight. Taking some damage to pick up the E-Tank overall, that's going to be a net gain for him. Probably going to end up using it before the...
Either that or if he does have an... There we go. That Firebot showing some love, gives him the extra life, so he could take it down if he wants to, but if he wants to catch up, he's gonna have to use the tank, and yep, there it is, he's using the tank. Meanwhile, Anthole is now on the second half of Tomahawk Man stage, and is on the second Met Dispenser. And something I want to point out about this next screen coming up. So this is one of the things I questioned with both Mythical and Richard at one point. This part of Tomahawk Man has the two paths you can take, the below and above. It's exactly 1 second quicker to go up and to the left than it is to sit there and try to use the jet adapter to go to the right, even though the door is closer over there.
Huh.
Yes, it is exactly 1 second save because of all the damage boosting you have to do through the flying shields.
That's good to
For
know. You're right,
Fishbowl,
we did
he
discuss
managed
that
to douse
last
the
time.
flames.
Yeah, that was a solid fight from him. He's just below half health, and it's possible to take a lot more damage when you're trying to buster that fight. Whoa, scary Tomahawk Man situation. He's out of ammo, so he's going to go to the E-Tank, and he's going to punch him in the face with the power shield. Nice. I like that finish. Although he's letting it get away from him a little bit.
Anthole indeed wrapping Tomahawk Man up and breaking him in half. That's alright, that's the best I get between using the plant berry and the power suit.
Chat took some attempts at Tomahawk Man, but the vaguely racist nature of the Robot Master
Yeah.
invited some
Unfavorable comments
Yeah.
because he is, you know, US Native American based, so... Good job, Dane developers. You gave us no puns to work with.
not quite Mike Tyson's Punch-Out levels of casual racism, but still hard to deal with. So we've got his weapon now, the Silver Tomahawk. That's going to help us with the Yamato Man fight. We're here in Yamato Man stage.
Oh yeah.
Probably the quickest of the Mega Man 6 stages, so it gets lengthened quite a bit when you can't quite deal with these spear-throwing enemies. Lots of people like the damage boost through these guys because of how troublesome they are. That's what Anthole eventually opts for, is he's playing it safe with these flying whatever they are and their bombs.
And meanwhile, Chad is still actively trying to work on getting a pun in for Tomahawk Man. Fishbowl coming up on the submarine section for Blizzard Man stage, having a okay run through it. Meanwhile, Anthole is coming up on the first, you know, real major time saver when it comes to this game right here for 6. Got this one spot here. He is not going up. He is going down. This is going to add a little bit more time for Fishbowl to catch up.
Yeah, I mean, if we're being realistic, the race is kind of over at this point. It's going to take some kind of series of disasters from Anthole for this gap to close. But he still wants... No, people are still watching. He still wants to do his best, so he's got that in mind as he makes his decisions, and for whatever reason, he's chosen to go this way.
So we just had a really good one for Plantman come in, and I'm definitely going to use it the next time he goes down.
That one's pretty good.
It's a bit morbid, but
Blizzard Man opens up the fight instantly with a roll, followed by another one. This is random, what he decides to do, and not much you can do to manipulate it.
oh yeah.
We've seen him fight Blizzard Man before, and rather than sticking to the wall and jumping over him on these snowball attacks, he jumps over him and then tries to slide away. And it's caused him to take a couple hits and get him into some scary situations. Thankfully, he's done with that fight. And also in a scary situation is Anthole, who finishes off Yamato Man with very low life. It's hard to dodge some of Yamato Man's jumping spear attacks, so it's pretty common to take some damage in that fight just to make sure you can be in the right place to shoot your tomahawks and keep him in iframes as best you can. So that was probably a pretty measured series of hits he took during that fight.
Indeed. Blizzard Man got put back in the freezer, and Yamato Man got pretty much split in half. So, Now Fishbowl is heading into Plant Man's area. Meanwhile, Anthole is heading into Nightman stage. He has these two Robot Masters left, Nightman and Centaur Man. Thankfully, these two stages aren't the worst in the universe, but they're still filled with the most instant death traps in the universe.
That's a bold claim. The universe is a big place.
Well, when we're talking about the SNES universe, the only other thing that's more ridiculous than that is Ninja Gaiden. But in Mega Man's case, Nightman's castle and Centaur Man's place are very touchy.
Let's hope he does not get touched by some of the enemies in this castle. Particularly the Mad Nerds later on are really good about pushing you into those spike pits, but until then, he's going to pull out the Yamato Spear. He might shoot once or twice to make sure that his arrows are in sync. Yeah, there it is. That one goes down. Actually, did not want to fire that one. You want the first one to be down so that the second one goes up and hits that the enemy as his head pops out of that barrel. Because that's how the Yamato Spear works. It alternates firing down and up with each press.
So Fishbowl, coming up on the worst run in the game, Anthole was given a present by Eddie, decides, nah, I got this, and you head straight on to the Mad Nerds. Fishbowl here trying to plan out very carefully with these fish. He does not want to become a fish food. He definitely wants to stay in his bowl. Definitely gets it done. It's doing pretty good so far. Again, getting knocked over here sends you back to the halfway point. So, there is no forgiveness when it comes to Plant Man stage. He is just downright brutal.
Yeah, he's not 100% on where all these fish are, so every bit of water you see him jumping out and turning back, trying to manipulate a fish to jump out.
Meanwhile, Anthole has entered Nightman's chambers. Doing an excellent job so far, getting this fight to go his way. Nightman hasn't bounced around the room too much.
Yamato Spear
Boom.
just wrecks him, goes straight through his shield. That's kind of his gimmick. The shield will block projectiles, but not the Yamato Spear. And he's... you're probably not going to take too much damage in Nightman stage, so combined with a fairly harmless AI routine makes Nightman one of the simpler bosses, and is a nice warm-up before the finale of Centaur Man stage, which is where Anthole is going.
Yes, with that, Nightman has literally been demoted to Peasant Man, as it's curtain call for Centaur Man to be chopped at the axe. Anthole is definitely trying hard here.
Well, I'll save that one for after Centaur Man's dead. We got a Plant Man fight going on. He's playing it much more safe than his opponent did, hitting him from very far away with the blizzard attacks.
And Fishbowl makes Plant Man pushing daisies.
There it is. Actually, I'm probably not gonna say the one I thought. But we got Centaur Man stage here. We got water, we got spikes. They often go together in a Mega Man game. Switching to Night Crusher, or whatever it is, Crasher, Night Sea.
Crasher. Who knows? It's a weapon. That's what I know.
He switched a bit early, so he might run into a bit of an ammo crunch later on. We'll see. Not going to pick up the extra health. We've seen some players opt to grab that at this point. What's Eddie got? Not going to wait. Is going to wait. Not going to wait.
Gave him a life. Meanwhile,
here's the section where Night Crusher really helps with these submarine cloud enemies. They're in awkward places that the Night Crusher and its multiple directions comes in handy, especially with these jellyfish in this next section. Does not fire at those, just going to wait. He's been opting to play it pretty safe here in this final stage.
Gotta make sure I have IRC open.
That's right, we're anticipating a dot done from Anthole entering the final boss fight. He's low on health and ammo. Gets a walking pattern, that's what you want to see from Centaur Man. Gets another one. This is looking pretty good. 3 walking patterns. Gets him down with 1 hit point left and no ammo. As close as it can get.
Oh yeah, had a very good call. And RaceBot calls in Anthole, finishing in first place with a time of 2 hours, 34 minutes, and 23 seconds.
This is his second best time of the tournament, kind of right in between the other two by a couple minutes. But another clutch boss fight. There's definitely been a lot of those in this race. It's been a lot of fun to watch. If you go back and watch the VOD, check out the Bomb Man fight from Fishbowl.
Oh yeah, that was interesting.
That's a highlight of the tournament for me.
So with that victory, Anthole takes Centaur Man, saddles him up, and rides him out to pasture to clutch the victory once again with an SRL time of 2:34.23. Let's help our friend Fishbowl here.
Yeah, he's got to deal with Tomahawk Man, who's able to turn out a lot of damage. He's got the health he needs, and he missed one of the shots of Plant Barrier, so he is going to have to use the Buster at some point. Now he has to do it 2 times more than he had to before. Going to use an E-Tank here as well. Does not like having to deal with this fight without Plant Barrier. I think he would have been okay without it, but he gets him down. He's only got 4 Robot Masters left to go in Mega Man 6.
This has definitely been a very, very interesting race.
The PV splits that the Fishbowl is running against, the 2:53.13. 2 minutes behind that coming into Mega Man 6. But it's been a fairly good Mega Man 6 so far. 4 Robot Masters left. 17 minutes to take them down. Definitely possible to see a PB here.
So we just had a confirmation from Fishbowl in the race chat. He was considering, the ability of having to, stop, but he is going to finish this round where he's so close. Because he's definitely going to be PVing.
E2 is playing it safe with these bomb-dropping enemies. Really, really easy to fall into one of those pits when they're around. The walkers in Mega Man 6 are a lot less threatening than they are in some of the other Mega Man games. Goes down to 5 shots, I think. And a 1-up. Sure. I'll take it, he says. Switching to Jet.
Going for the fast route. Yeah, mythical, race chat.
Yes, but only if you replace it with Sudoku or Subaru or something. Then it's cute enough.
Yeah, I was just making sure, seppuku was not going to be too strong of a word, but at the same time it does sound
And then
too
you
strong.
said it! Oh no! Alright, we got some Yamato Man fight coming up. We're not so great on health, and Yamato Man has a really hard to dodge attack when he jumps in the air and throws out the multiple spears. Plus, Chad is going the kamikaze route too, so that you're going to be fine. We'll see what he can do, though. He needs to beat this Robot Master before the puns can come out. He opens it up with a miss and a hit from his enemy. Oh, So yeah, this is not looking good for him. He's
Just
gonna go
realized he doesn't have
E-tank.
an energy
Nope, no
tank.
E-tanks. Okay, what do I do? Do I save
And
the ammo? Do I
destroyed.
go for it? I feel like that was maybe intentional. He should have just enough ammo to come back and do this fight right the second time.
Unfortunately, was hoping to assist Yamato Man with moving on from his samurai life, but instead got impaled. Here's attempt number 2. Starts off by getting hit again. He's overshooting the tomahawks into the iframes accidentally. So, yep, runs out of tomahawk
Whoa.
here.
Just spammed that button. Ammo is gone.
And with that, he assists. He gives the assist to Yamato Man to go on to the afterlife.
Went a different way with that one. But
Yeah. I wanted the nicer word, so
Yeah.
we went with a nicer word. Just because I like helping out with
fishbowl
these.
off a little bit in the race chat. Hopefully you can keep it together for the last few Robot Masters now. He's got the Yamato
He's got
Spear.
this.
It's moving on. He, keep in mind, he started with Flame Man, so he still has Wind Man. So actually, I misspoke earlier. It was not 4 Robot Masters in 17 minutes. It was 5 Robot Masters in 17 minutes. And that means he needs to be playing really clean if he wants to cut that PB. Any death, I think, will pretty much cinch it, so this is pretty tense.
Indeed. This has been a pretty intense fight for Fishbowl. He's done the best he can to keep it as close to anthole as he could. He's actually done a pretty good job so far, though. He's definitely played the very best he could. He's definitely had a better run this time than he did last time from his last match. So I'm really happy to see that he's had the chances to, get improvements in and actually get, a better ground going.
He's had 2 gold splits in Mega Man 1 and Mega Man 5.
That's
in the green
good.
as of Mega Man 2. 3 and 4 got away from him a little bit, but overall this is a much better run in the tournament that he's posted. And anything close to your PBs, you're going to be pretty happy with coming up in a race format like this.
Oh yeah, totally. I can totally understand that, because the other night I did a any percent run for Super Metroid, and I shaved 2 minutes off my personal best. So anytime you're in a race and you can actually shave off PBs, you definitely feel more accomplished, because there's always someone else you're trying to beat. You're trying to beat someone else, and you're getting pushed, and it helps. But again, this is a very tough category to go through, because think about it. You're doing 46 Robot Master stages, one after the other. It is an almost 3-hour slog, so your mind does start to deteriorate and, get a little frazzled as you're going through the games and trying to keep up with them. It does add up a little bit. Alright, Fishbowl coming up on the Bounty House. Gets the energies. Definitely wants them. Gotta get past the spines here and the bounce house. Here we go with Fishbowl, starting the fight. So far, Nightman's jumped a couple times. He's trying to be careful. And dethrones Nightman.
I like that one. .243 showing on the timer. He's got Centaur Man and Wind Man left. So actually, he is looking pretty good for this to still be a PB for him.
Yeah, what is his current, he's looking at 253.13. That gives him 10 minutes to get through these next 2 stages. Windman will definitely be very easy. And Centaur Man's the only stage he has to really worry about. This is going to be the slog part of it. But after the slog, he really has an easy time. As long as he plays good and close and clean, he'll definitely have a PB somewhere about the 250 mark, maybe. Maybe possibly below and have a 249. You never know.
We'll see if and when he decides to switch to Night Crusher. It's going to be in a little bit, since he's sent back to the start of the stage with this death not out of PB range yet.
Thankfully,
but it's going to slip away from him bit by bit if things like this keep happening.
Yeah, just a little bit of a slip there. It's not going to be too damaging just yet, but again, the whole, taking that down was not something he necessarily needed to have happen.
Trying to wait for this fish to get out of his way, ends up perfectly in his way. Thrown off a little bit. Here's this jump. Hesitated a little bit, almost just walked off the ledge.
Thankfully gets his timing in. He's definitely going to make it to the checkpoint this time, so that helps him out. So Fishbowl here in the Rising Water Room.
Nice slide under that enemy. Wow, the lag created when two of those guys are on. How incredible. Gets a life drop, but he's really going to be looking for more than 3 hit points. I thought he was going to release his charge shot on that guy before he jumped down, but he held on to it. Did not work out. Gonna wait to see what Eddie has in mind. Thanks, energy refill. Moving on. Still not switching to Night Crusher. Maybe he's not too comfortable with the Centaur fight, wants to have all the ammunition he can have.
Definitely wanted to save the energy as much as he can. I applaud that much. He is a he is a conservatist. I will say that much, but it's just you can't always conserve. That's the problem. You always have to use some sort of interesting thought process.
All right, sure. I think the only advantage of this route is the B parts.
True, but he already missed one with Yamato Man, so...
Maybe he just doesn't know that if you fall down, you don't die. You just trigger a screen transition. I don't know. Either way, flying over the gap into the fight, he gets a different background, I think, for this fight. Gets flashed. That's going to be a hit. It's possible to prevent the flashes by keeping Centaur Man in iframes or putting yourself in iframes. Often you don't have the health to make that happen. But he has the health he needs to finish the fight.
You either love the chocolatey, peanut buttery deliciousness of Reese's Puff cereal,
or
you stuck your tongue to a frozen pole in 4th grade.
Or if you... Well, it's okay. I mean, Anthole's... Actually, no, he probably cut his stream. That's probably...
Yeah, then the ad started up, so unfortunately it kicked in the sound override of the ad, so it's like, ah... I really need to get an ad blocker.
Reese's Puffs! Yeah! I could go for some Reese's Puffs. It's chocolate and peanut butter for breakfast.
You know what's funny? I actually think we have Reese's Puffs out in my kitchen, and I think we have milk too. I might go get someone and Fishbowl finishes.
I have no food. I have been trapped doing commentary. Every time I'm like, I should go, actually get some food so that I can eat food today.
I should
and then
eat.
commentary comes up, and I'm like, okay, well then I guess I'm just gonna order a pizza and try to time it so it comes after the commentary is over. Hopefully, I can avoid that situation today. But it's been a while since I've eaten. Some Reese's Puffs would be just fine with me right now. But let's get back to the action because we are close to witnessing a new PB for our buddy Fishbowl.
Oh yeah.
He's in Windman stage, and these fans are giving him some trouble. They are pretty awkward. If you're doing the speedrun strats, then you know when you get into the fan, when you exit the fan, and it's not so bad. But when you haven't drilled that down and you're kind of reacting to what the fans are doing, it can actually be a little tricky to... Oh, he's got the jet, though, so that's going to help him out in this stage a lot. I'm surprised he didn't keep it on. It would have helped a lot for the rest of this stage, but he is back to the Buster.
He was thinking about that energy tank. That's probably the only thing that was on his mind, was that energy tank. So that was one good thing, but again, the jet would have definitely helped him out a lot here.
Some people don't realize you can shoot with a lot of weapons that kind of have like an on and off state. Lots of bright stopper weapons you can still shoot. Rush coil you can still shoot, and jetpack you can still shoot. So I think people feel like they're completely helpless when they have it on. They want to put their Buster on and attack. The truth is you're pretty much okay just sticking with it and shooting with it. Sometimes it has limited projectiles on screen. Buster has 3. Sometimes a rush coil or something will only let you have 2 on screen, and that can maybe limit you a little bit, but I don't think that's the case with the jet. So a lack of knowledge hurting him just a little bit. He is switching to tomahawks, I guess. No, there we go. Centaur Flash.
Yeah.
He's got
he used the tomahawks to take out the pandas.
Yeah, those pandas are troublesome. An extra menu to get rid of them. Probably not too bad an idea. Although that's kind of not his style. He has been sticking with Buster come hell or high water in a lot of situations, so I'm a little surprised to see it. He's got the Centaur Flash out for Windman. He missed one of his shots, so he's going to have to pull out the Buster or something to deal with Windman. It's got a 251 on the timer, and there's no way he's going to blow it at this point. So we've definitely got a PB in our hands. It's just a matter of what the final time is going to be.
Boom. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, with that down on Windman, turning off the fans and packing it in for the day, Fishbowl completes with a second place finishing time of 2:51:30. The Fishbowl has improved their personal bests by 12 minutes and 21 seconds on the SRL boards.
That is a race PB by 12 minutes. Massive improvement for him. He says, I hope they were all laughing at me in chat, and I don't think that was the case.
No, I don't think a single person ever did
laughing
laugh.
With maybe cheering on, definitely. That's the kind of audience we have here over at Speedruns Live.
Okay, that was
so that's great to see. He is letting out a sigh of relief on his end of things.
Can you blame the guy?
Yeah, he closed it out with a really strong run. Awesome to see. So, on the schedule for speedgaming.tv, that's where a lot of these Mega Man races are happening. 4 p.m. There's going to be some more Mega Man. I think it might be Dr. Mario over there right now. It's the semifinals, actually, so you should probably go over there and check that out, even if you're not, or even if you're particularly looking for Mega Man. Mega Man's going to pop up there, I'm pretty sure, very shortly. So let me go ahead and put that in chat, but not before I talk about Speedruns Live does the Get Yourself Speedrunning tournaments, and those have wrapped up for now. But there's some Castlevania 4, some Diablo 2, and one that I cannot remember. But the VODs for those tournaments that were held here on Speedruns Live are ready and waiting if you want to check those out. There's the link in chat. Well, 10 seconds ago, there's the link for twitch.tv/speedgaming. That's where Dr. Mario's happening. That's where more Mega Man is happening. After Mega Man, there's going to be some Super Metroid Double Anti-Bingo at 8 p.m. And I just want to make sure... Yes, more Mega Man at 6 as well. So there's going to be 2 matches back-to-back coming up very shortly. Speedgaming.tv. I've been commentator Mythical9, joined by the wonderful...
Wonderful, thank you. I am Sacred Hooves, thank you. Mythical, again, you and Feasel, you guys are two awesome, amazing people for putting these tournaments together. Again, thank you for everybody that watches, both here on Speedgaming, on Speedgaming and on SRL. We're actually on SRL itself. Whoops. Thanks for those that actually stick around and watch on Speedruns Live and on Speedgaming, both on Twitch.tv. I don't know about you, Mythical, but enjoy your pizza. I myself am going to get some Reese Puffs. God bless all of you. Enjoy your races, and do come back and join us for more fun.